My name is LilBlastyBlast. I can't do it. I had like way too many images of what I wanted to do right then. Failed. Just crashed.
Try again. Go. Let's go. Just try it.
No, you've officially hit my bashful side. Start turning.
3, 2, 1. Oh, what's up, gamers? And welcome to the Save File Podcast, where like every video game character, every gamer has an origin story to tell. I am your host, Gold Lion, and what the heck? Today's guest, as you can tell, we got LilBlastyBlast. This is so great, so amazing. Welcome, LilBlastyBlast, to the show.
Thank you.
So awesome for you to be here. How you feeling today? How you doing around these weird times?
This feels normal to me. This is my normal life.
How so?
I'm always indoors. I'm so busy all the time. I don't really get out very much. So the only difference is that my children are here doing school, which I used to be a homeschooler. So even that feels normal.
Wow. Okay. So I mean, that's what I noticed is like it's typical for gamers just to stay inside all the time. So it's pretty great. It's pretty amazing.
I'm like, we were all made for this. I'm like, this is where we thrive. It's this moment, right?
Yo, Nightwing in the chat asking you how tall you are.
Oh my God, 4'11".
4'11"?
Nightwing, of course, you would be asking. He's the first one in here asking.
Hey, Nightwing, if you got any more questions, man, I'm more than happy to go ahead and ask her too.
Oh my God.
So please do, man. That's the whole point of this podcast, is like not just interview the streamer, but also be interactive with the streamers community. That's what makes it so much love and amazing. That's what makes it great. It's so dope. So LilBlastyBlast, tell us about the first experience with gaming.
Oh my gosh, my first experience?
Yeah.
So I remember Atari. No joke. And that is the first, I remember like the little, the little box that you just held.
Yeah, the box and the joystick and the button. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I was very young, so it was like huge in my little hands, but I just felt like I was in control. I don't even remember. I remember playing like Space Invaders. That's the only one I remember is Space Invaders.
Yeah, but it took a lot of skill to play that game, though.
Space Invaders was very organized. You had to like, strategize.
Were you good at it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I beat my brother. Was the only game I remember. That's the only game I remember. This is the only one I beat my brother in. Because he was the one that actually played games. I didn't play.
Yeah. You should play it again sometime soon. I think that'd be cool.
Oh my God. It would be so much fun to actually get on there and play that. But yes, that's the only game I actually remember when I was young until I was much older, probably early 20s.
Yeah.
It was the only other time I ever really played games other than a couple computer games here and there. But as far as a console, any kind of console goes, it was years later. That was my first experience with games.
So from Atari, what else did you play? Like, what else did you move on to?
So I just remember Atari. I remember, I think I played once or twice ever. My brother had a Nintendo in his room. He let me play on it maybe twice. I was just more the creative type growing up. So I did a lot of stuff in my room. So I would be like writing. Okay, so my days growing up was more like in my room with candles lit, writing theories. Yeah. Even like when I was like full book theories of, like when I was 8, I wrote a theory about how we could be actually butterflies dreaming that we're humans. And is that real? What is reality? Like, that's the way that I used to think growing up. That's really weird. So
that's not weird. That's great.
Yeah, it was just really different. So my parents were like, we don't know what to do with her. So they just let me be in my room, like theorizing about life and spirituality and like, are we real? Like, what is human? Like, what are humans? And, does everybody have the same perspective on life? Do we all see the same colors? Like I had books upon books that I'd be writing, or poetry, music. So I was always doing that kind of like more the artistic side of stuff. And my brother was in games, and games were fun at the time. Like when he ever let me play them, but they just weren't, I didn't connect with them like I do now. Now I love games.
Where are those books now?
You know what? There's so many of them that got lost in moving because I've moved so many times.
Dang.
My mom saved most of them when I went away to the army. And I think my dad, they were all in a box. And I think my dad was like, what are these? And tossed them out. They're all
Wow.
gone. I think I have like two, but they aren't even really from when I was young. It was when I was teenage years or like about, yeah, late teens.
You think you'd be able to write the same things as you did when you were younger?
Well, I think I could probably, yeah, I could probably like break down what was in the book, but I don't know if I wouldn't write it like I did when I was 8.
Yeah.
You know,
But
that
still,
was,
like, you thinking like that, that's actually pretty good. That's great that you had that kind of mentality to be able to put that creativity and actually challenge your own perspective in life to figure out, like, are we really butterflies just dreaming that we're humans and we
yeah,
see different colors and different
I thought everybody else
perspectives?
thought that way. I really thought everybody was like me, because you don't know. When you're that
Mm-hmm.
age, you just think everybody's experiences those thoughts. And, I would try to open up and talk to my friends about it, and they'd look at me like they would no longer be my friends. Like I lost a lot of friends sharing. So I'm like, people don't like this. I talked to my parents, and they're like, you need help. Like,
They told
we
you
don't
that?
know. Yeah. Well, I mean, not that bluntly, but they're, you okay? Like, do you think these thoughts all the time? And they just weren't, they told me I was raised being called weird, like, you're so weird. We just don't understand you. It's like you talk in code or something. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to express, but like, I don't understand. I don't know how to connect with my family because I'm very different from the rest of my family. So, yeah, I would always just kind of like watch them and try to figure them out because that was just part of who I was. Is I never slept. Like to this day, I don't sleep very much. But I literally, when I was young, I hated sleeping because I always understood time. That like this moment, you'll never get back. And I was always afraid that I was going to miss a really important moment if I fell asleep. So I would just stay awake and theorize. And so I'm sure that was part of the concern is I was like always tired and like theorizing. Like I'm sure my parents were like, we don't know what to do with you, which I wouldn't either. I mean, my children are very unique in the way that they feel and think. So of course I've like poured into that. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Like, let me see what's in there. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I've
Yeah.
like really encouraged it and helped them to be really comfortable and confident. I'm probably compensating for what I felt like I didn't get. But my parents, I mean, my family is very loving and um, supported me the best way that they could, but they didn't know how to do that. They didn't know how to engage with me in a way um, that was maybe healthy for me or, just what I needed. They didn't know what I needed.
Did you
I
have
didn't
anybody
want
that helped you through your thought process? Like, was anybody
to.
there with you that understood you?
God. I
That's a
used to
good
talk to
answer.
him when I was little. Like he understood everything. So I was like, you get it. Like
Mm.
I just remember like having interactions with him. I don't even remember him. I remember one, and it was a dream that he kept giving me over and over and over again. But other than that, I just remember that I felt like I knew him and that we were friends and we would talk.
What was the
And I felt
dream?
like that. So the dream, and in fact, what's really funny is it's like I dreamt it last night. That's how vivid it is in my mind. But I was little. I was young. I was probably 6 or 7, maybe. But he showed me like floating down from wherever, heaven, someplace, and there was the earth, and the earth was black and white, and it was gray. Just everything was gray, black and white. And he put me down on the earth, and there was this road that went all the way around it. And I was like walking on the road, but everything in front of me was just dull and gray and lifeless. And I'm like, I don't like this. This doesn't look pretty. And he's like, I just need you to walk because it's going to change the whole world. He's like, just walk, just keep walking. Just trust me and walk. And I'm like, okay. And I'm little, I'm like, okay. So I'm like walking and I'm like, this isn't fun. Like, this is making me feel sad inside. And he's like, okay, well, look, turn around and look behind you. And like out from where I was walking in like a V, everything started coming alive. So like these flowers were blooming and there was color, but it was spreading out to like the rest of the world behind me, like a domino effect kind of. And I was like, how did that happen? And he's like, because you're walking. You're just walking. You're just going where I need you to go. And I'm like, how is it happening? It's following me. And he's like, yes, you're bringing life. And I was like, okay. And I was like, so all I got to do is walk. and it'll be pretty like this. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, everything will be alive. He's like, yeah. So I just kept walking. And as soon as I got to the end, I would be done. And the whole world could be more colorful. And that was just a dream that he kept giving me over and over. And every time I was really broken or down, because my life was troubled growing up, we were dysfunctional. Mm-hmm. And anytime I was really troubled, he would give me that dream, or he'd remind me of the dream. And it would just like, okay, in front of me, it's always going to look dead and gray. Like, it's okay, because it doesn't mean things aren't happening. It's what I'm not seeing that I have to remember is the trail that I'm leaving. So that got me through really hard times when I was young. This is really deep, right? Quick, huh?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just kind of threw you into the whole...
Please don't be sorry. This is
okay.
This is great. This is great.
I'm like, did I answer your question?
You did more than answer the question.
Yeah. Yes.
That is, and you said you've been having this dream a lot in your life.
Oh yeah. So when I was younger, I had it probably in the first year that I had it, when I don't know how old I was, thinking like 6. I had it probably 5 or 6 times. But I would like wake up from it just feeling so empowered and like I could fly, like just full of love of life and so excited and like I was just, energized. And then like I said, when I was down, it would just like lift my spirits. And then I had it probably every few years. And there are times a few times even in my teenage years that I woke up remembering the dream. But I was little still. Mm-hmm. So my dream was back when I was little and remembering it. But I was like walking the whole thing over again. So it's like it's always stayed with me. So that's who I had. I had so back to the question. That's who I had to talk to, because nobody else in my family understood anything I was talking about. My mom had one conversation with me, where I felt like, that is in you too. That's where I got this from. And you have been hiding it. Like, I found you out. But like one conversation that she shared when she was in elementary school, and she was like, I just sat and thought, she's like, just one time it hit me, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm human. And the way she grabbed herself, like I'm actually duplicating my mom, but she's like an adult, right? But she's like, I'm human and I'm real. And all of these kids are human and they're real. And there's how many people on the earth? And it just hit her. Like the gravity of the situation. Like, are we real? We're real and I'm real. And like reality hit her. Mm-hmm. And she shared that with me. And I'll always remember it, as that was the moment where I connected with my mom. Truly connected, that I'm like, that's in there, but it doesn't benefit you to be like that. So my mom went a different direction with her life.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, how did she why did she turn away from that, such enlightenment within herself?
I don't think she turns away from it, because my mother has been known to be very wise by everybody around her. Very wise. But I think she internalizes all of it. And she probably thinks those thoughts, but she doesn't need to share them. Well, plus she's a Scorpio. And I believe that there's a lot that you could learn by like learning about the signs. I don't believe like the whole, what is it called? Or it tells you your future. What are they called? Horoscopes, thank you. Mm-hmm. So I don't believe like the horoscopes and all that crap. But I believe in any truth that can be observable. Like, and there's truths that I've seen in that. And so with her being a Scorpio, I'm like, oh, okay, you handle things differently. So I think she internalized that depth, but she doesn't feel the need to share it, because she's wise enough to not like be pushing people away from her or, alienating herself out of that. Whereas with me, I'm a little more forceful, to where I'm like, love me or hate me, but this is who I am. Like I don't have to hide. I'm a freedom lover. I'm an Aquarius. So I'm like, freedom, like I want to be me, love me, hate me. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay if you love me or hate me. I'm still going to be me, and I have to be me, because that's where I thrive, is just being real out loud.
Does your mom know that you have this within you when you first realized that your mom had this within her?
She did that in order to, I believe that what she did, and from what I remember, because that was a long time ago, She did that to let me know that she's like, I see you. You're not alone, because I was really broken. I just remember being really broken, being just frustrated, and I'm like, nobody understands me. Like, nah, just like full of tears, and I think she stepped out for me and showed me just a little glimpse that it's like, you're not completely alone, but I can't stay here with you. But I just want you to know that I get you, at least that much, and then she tried to pull me back into like the norm. But I just was resistant. I'm like, I don't want to go to the norm. I like it where I like Jeffy's world. And I've had like all my friends, and even as adults, like people are like, I wish I could go to Jeffy's world and explore. They call it Jeffy's world, and I'm like, it is Jeffy's world. But I was just a little more resistant, and I just wanted to stay there. I didn't want to be normal and act like I was supposed to act, So
how's that been working out till now for you?
I really wouldn't know what to measure it with, to be honest, because I view success completely different than most. So it's okay. So I'll put it this way. I drew this. So I went with my brother. So my brother, he'd been through some really hard times. So my brother's a miracle, a walking miracle. He was a heroin addict that literally got free overnight. God just freed him overnight. Anyways, I went to some meetings with him, Narcotics Anonymous, and they had asked a question for you to like draw a picture of yourself or whatever. And so I put myself as a diamond, and heaven had circles where you could only fit if you were a circle, and earth was only squares. And I didn't fit in either. I just floated kind of in between them. And so how that worked for me is I feel like it made me comfortable floating and not fitting into here. I got comfortable with it. I accepted who I am, and I'm comfortable in my own skin, but I don't necessarily fit in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. So, but what took you to, like, what helped you to find that comfort though with people that are because this is interesting. Like, I understand. I know what you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from with this type of thinking, and we've had similar journeys growing up and dealing with our own personal development. But for the people that are listening and dealing with what we went through, you mentioned that you were okay with floating in the middle. What was that pinnacle point to help you to cope, just being that floater, being the person to be different?
The pinnacle point. So I was very self-rejecting for years. Oh my gosh. I like your own. I think everybody's your own worst enemy, to be honest. But there are some people that are more extreme. I was extreme with rejecting myself for so long because I had heard from so many people, you're weird. There's something wrong with you. Like, why are you like this? And because I had so much negative attention with me just trying to reach out and like love people and like connect with people, I was really self-rejecting. And it got to the point where I realized no matter what I do, if I'm going to be who I am, it's going to be rejected. And I'm all I got. Me and God, that's it. And I think once I understood that, I made friends with myself. Because like, if I'm stuck with myself, I better get along, kind of thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to be okay with me because I'm the only person that understands me. But it was actually extremely powerful because in the time that I realized I'm the only one that understands me, I realized that nobody understands other people like they do. Like nobody ever really fully knows you. And it kind of makes you feel alone when you think about that it's like, you think you're close to people, but they don't know you. They don't see your life through your eyes. They see life through their eyes. Even when they're looking at you and what you're saying, they may relate to some of it, but it's still their point of view. And so it isolated me when I realized that, but then I realized how isolated everybody else really is. And yet we're here interacting and connecting and changing, having an effect on each other's lives. And it just became this really beautiful dance with me and the rest of the world. So it was empowering because I knew that I don't have to, even if I try to describe my life, nobody's going to really truly understand it but God. But that set me on a course to, I need to find my maker because I need him to tell me why he made my life like this. I want to know my purpose. Like, why am I like the way I am? He's the only one who's really going to understand. So I was like seeking him because I knew that he'd be the only one who could see on the inside. So
it's a great answer.
What are you talking about over here? Nightwing? Like Nightwing's over here throwing potatoes up and
honey mustard and all these crazy.
Typical.
All these crazy people. I love it though. Keeping the chat live. Range be low level mayo sometimes. Depends what you put it on though. But yeah, that's awesome that the way you think that's so great and explains a lot of you have a certain light that comes out of you, like a personality that comes out of you. And this is what I don't get. This is another thing I don't get. I'm gonna be real with you. Okay. So when I try to get a picture from you for social media marketing purposes, I notice you don't really smile. But yet when you're streaming, you smile all the time.
I don't smile in my pictures?
Yeah, you don't. You're just kind of like grin. Like, I don't know. You're not really into it, but like, you see what I'm saying?
This is why I freaking cannot be fake. I try so hard to like do the, I'm the worst selfie taker ever. Like ever. First of all, I'm not photogenic. And secondly, when people say to smile for a picture, that was like the most awkward moments of my life. Is when somebody tells me, you know what I mean? Like the only time that I smile genuinely now is my kids know how to take pictures of me. They make me laugh and then they'll snap as soon as I start laughing. Like that's the only genuine like smiles that I have. But yeah, it's really difficult for me because I refuse to like smile and the fake comes across. You know what I mean? Like I just can't do it. I'm really uncomfortable with that.
Even if you're happy at that moment, you're just like, hey, let's take a picture. You can't just. No?
I'm usually not happy taking pictures. To be honest.
Why?
I'm not, because I hate them. I don't like pictures of me.
It shows in your pictures.
I know. I'm not photogenic. Like the camera hates me. Like the camera.
No, you hate the camera. You hate the camera.
I hate the camera. I do. I always have. I've always hated pictures of me. And it's not because I think I look bad. It's because it doesn't capture who I am. I don't know. Does that make sense? But like, I'm like, in that moment, I didn't feel the way that I look in that. I don't like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I can be really happy on the inside and look completely serious.
Yeah, I could see that.
I've learned to just try to have at least amount of expression so it's not awkward. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you're just so comfortable in front of like a live camera rather than just pictures. It's cool. It's interesting to watch.
I know it is. It's really odd that because so much of capturing a person, I guess, is, a still picture doesn't capture anything. I mean, it can capture a little bit, but like when there's interaction, then there's your emotions are showing. There's expression. There's expression when it's live or recorded. Like on video, I'm way better. Even if it's just video, it doesn't even have to be live. But that's because I can show through my actions. Like I talk with my hands and I'm expressive, so it's just easier for me.
It's great. Well, normally we get into the first topic of the show is your character creation. So we dove really deep, really quick, which is great.
I know.
So
this is how I do.
So we're already here, which is awesome.
Okay.
But LilBlastyBlast, why that gamer tag?
So it's something that I used to say with my ex. Like we were best friends before we were together. We were best friends for like a year, and we were both really excitable, and we would go just do crazy stuff, just spontaneous and like water fights inside the house kind of thing, like just fun. And it's like always afterwards we're like, that was a blasty blast. I don't know. It's just something that we got to saying. And so when it came to my gamer tag, I'm, well, what would I want to be known as? And I'm like, I'm a little blasty blast. Because I'm little, because I'm 4'11". So I'm like, I want to be a little blasty blast. So that's what I'm going to be, is a little blasty blast from here on out. And plus it was suitable because I learned my very first game that I learned with a controller was Halo.
Okay.
Reach, an old copy of Halo Reach. And so I like that it's, it was an FPS game. And so the blast just kind of fit that too. So I thought it was kind of a cute play on words. So yeah, it's descriptive.
Yeah. Where are you from?
Wyoming, Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Wow, that's random. That's a random state to me, anyway. I'm sorry, it's a very random state.
Most people are like, "Where is that? Do you still ride horse?" Like some people are like, still ride horses there, like on dirt roads?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah. There's no vehicles, nothing up there. Like it's weird. We're just like completely out." I'm like, "Really? Like it's 2020. What? People are still asking me this crap?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's still Amish people riding around in buggies and stuff.
It's true. It's true, the Amish, but they do that by choice, not because they don't. Yeah. I'm like, we're not that displaced. It's still the United States. I'm like, yeah, but it is like where the buffalo roam. So I mean, there's like the range, and there's a lot of nothing out there. There's some really beautiful parts of Wyoming that I have not personally seen, but because Cheyenne's terrible, absolutely terrible. It's like the ugliest part of Wyoming.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. How was it? How was it growing up there?
Cold. 10 months out of the year, it's winter. And like the 2 months of summer is so super windy. So Chicago is not the windy city. Cheyenne is the windy city. Like, I'm not kidding you, 70-mile-an-hour winds. I've seen like dumpsters roll down the street. And that was just a normal thing to have it that windy where everything has to be locked down. Because it's just constantly wind. There's no trees, there's no mountain, like there's just not a lot to stop that wind. So it was really, it can be depressing. A lot of people are depressed in places like Cheyenne because you're constantly hearing wind and it's troubling. Like it actually does make a huge difference on your life to constantly be like in wind and snow and just bad weather. I'm like, why did my family choose this place? So I moved. I didn't want to be there anymore. I didn't want my kids being raised in a place that was just cold and windy and dry all the time. So
where'd you move to?
I didn't care for it. Huh?
Where'd you move to?
So after the Army, which was nice because I was East Coast, fell in love with the East Coast, but I moved lots of places in the Army. Then separately, I moved different places with one of my exes. And the most recent was going to New Mexico. And I was there for 7 years, and that's where we stayed. My kids were kind of raised in Albuquerque. And then now we moved down here to San Antonio, which I like. I'm like, further south, let's go hotter. I don't know if I'm going to appreciate it this summer because I haven't spent a summer here yet. So I'm like, this will be my first summer that I'm coming up on. I'm brand new. Yeah. I don't know anybody here. I only know my neighbor across the street. That's it. Like, I don't get out. Wow. So I'm like, I don't know any place here. I don't really know San Antonio. People ask me and I'm like, I don't know. I haven't gotten out of the house since I moved here. I've been busy, like getting the house together or streaming. Yeah. So, yeah.
Definitely need to have that coffee. Whataburger. That'd be fun. Whataburger? It's cool when you're new. I don't like Whataburger. Yeah, it's okay. Well, okay. So you have those two people. It's like the new people think it's amazing, and some people it's just like, what the fuck is all this? Like, this is not as good.
Yeah, I'm like, this does not. Like, I don't see anything special about it, to be honest. And I had that when I was in New Mexico. I had Whataburger in New Mexico.
I didn't. How'd you get in the Army? Like, what? Why?
I'm like, how long do we have for this? Because I have stories for everything you ask.
If you got all day, I got all day. We got all day.
Okay. So I was like, half of me, I'm split, okay? Half of me is a warrior. The other half is this flower child, peace-loving hippie girl, okay? That's just like, can't we all love each other? So that part of me was more prevalent at the time. And I used to, because I love people and I love life and like the study of life and all things, theorizing and all. I used to sneak out with a camera. I found my dad's old camcorder. And I used to sneak out and go find like homeless people and just random people on the street. And I was young. It was dangerous. It was really risky. But I used to interview people and just ask them questions about life and record it just for my own personal investigation. And I came across this veteran. He was homeless and he was a vet downtown. And I would hitch rides and everything downtown. Like, oh my God, thinking the stuff that I did. It's no wonder my parents were worried. I'm like, my children are so different. Thank God there's those. But I went down to the old bus station and he was down there and just kind of sitting on the side of the street. And I walk up to him and I was like, can I interview you? And he's like, for what? He was grouchy. But I was never intimidated by that. Even like being a young girl, I was just like, I want it. And I have questions to ask you and you can answer a few questions. He's like, okay, fine. So I sat down and started asking him, and he was talking about being military, and I'm like, and he's like, "What do you think about that?" Because he was in, I don't remember what he had experienced, but it was just a tragic story. And he's like, "What do you think about that?" Because I was getting teary eyed, and I'm like, "I don't believe in war. I believe in peace." And he got so upset, like tears in his eyes, and he was like, "We are the peacemakers." Like he was just arguing. It's like, "We are the peacemakers. What do you think we were doing out there?" And he was just upset. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. And I went home and it really affected me. And I watched that part of the video over and over again and just felt his passion and really absorbed that and realized, you know what? If I believe in peace, I need to quit sitting on my butt and I need to actually be a peacemaker. And if that's the way to do it, that's what I need to do. So I joined the Army to be a proactive peacemaker.
How'd that turn
That's
out?
why I loved it. Like it was really challenging on a personal level because I was airborne. So
Dang,
I
you went
wasn't gonna,
airborne.
yeah, I was
Okay.
airborne. So if I was going in, everything I do 110%, everything. I don't believe in doing anything halfway because why do it? Like that's ridiculous. It's like shoot yourself in the foot. It's just not logical. But I threw myself into it I wanted to be a ranger because if I'm going to make a difference, I'm going to make the biggest impact. So I fought to be a ranger, but at the time, women weren't allowed to be rangers. And I'm the one that was stood up and I'm like, this is unfair. Now I agree with it. I mean, I agreed with it like just a few years later, but I was fighting to really have that impact and I should be allowed to do that. But the step down from that was you can go to these other schools. So you could be air assault, which I really wanted to be, and you can be airborne. So I was going to do all of them. But I went to airborne school and that was really physically, mentally challenging. And every time I was almost broken, some part of me would rise up in me. It's a fight. There's a fighter in me, a warrior in me that's like, never give up. And it was really nice for that to develop. I didn't even know she was in there, you know? And so that part of me woke up. And that was the other half of me. So it's like this peace loving, you know, like hug everybody, make everybody feel loved, make sure everybody's okay, healer. And then over here is like the warrior that just wants to shut people down and, you know, do the right thing all the time. So I really, really pushed myself. And it was the only thing that was really difficult. The real difficulty of that is that I was a female in a man's world because I was a diesel mechanic. I was the only female in the entire company. And I was already in a man's world, you know, being military, period, as a female, you're in a man's world. Why is especially only surrounded by men and being treated differently as less, you know. So I was always the one that they wanted to kick around or make fun of or really just take their aggression out on. But I also had really close brothers. Those are the ones that rose up and they're like, protect me, you know. They became like my entourage. They're my really close ones. So that was beautiful. That was beautiful in the midst of that. But it's really hard. It really challenged me to have to learn how to adapt and pull out another side of me to survive that, even just mentally to survive that and emotionally pull my feelings back and not be emotional because I'm around a bunch of guys who couldn't handle those emotions. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was really good development, I think, for me. I think everybody should be in some sort of situation like military or something or training like that for 1 year of their life. I personally believe that.
Yeah,
I think it would help everybody.
I agree. I also recommend that at least people should go through at least go through basic training just to get their asses kicked for a little bit. And like, listen, there's more to life than just sitting in your house and being a dickhead to your parents, okay?
Yeah. And you don't even know what's in you. Sometimes that's when you find out really what you got. Because some people think they're so strong and they buckle and then they have to reevaluate who they are and what they really believe about themselves. And other people bloom and they didn't know that they were going to. I'm one of those where I'm like, I had no idea how strong I am. You know, I need this. I needed it. I needed it for my kids. There's no way I could be a single parent to 4 kids and for this many years without knowing that strength I had in the military. That totally prepared me for this, you know, and the stream and everything. So that's beautiful how it's all worked out, I think.
Did you ever go downrange?
A good poker face, though? What are you talking about? Did I ever what?
You ever go downrange?
No.
How long were you in?
Only a few years. So I was a ballerina before.
Okay.
Um, there's like the split sides of it. So I was a ballerina, and I had an operation on my feet because like the toe bones that meet up with these metatarsal bones, your longer bones. So genetically, it's common for some people's, like, I don't know, it's a genetic thing where your toe bone, that metatarsal bone, can grow a little too long, which is usually not a problem for people. But it started pushing my bone over because I was on my toes so much. And so these doctors are like, we can fix that. We have a new procedure. It'll be better for her so she doesn't end up breaking her feet in ballet. Well, it was a new procedure. They changed the whole structure of my foot and accidentally pushed down like the stronger bones and lifted the lighter bones. And I had to learn how to walk all over again. Like, I lost my balance. So I went from having balance as a ballerina to I can't dance anymore. So now what am I going to do? So I joined the Army. That was only, like a few years later, and my feet hadn't fully healed. So in Airborne school, I was running on broken feet for 2 weeks to get my wings because I'm that stubborn. And they found out a few years in the condition of my feet, and I was still running. They put me on a profile and say you're not allowed to run, but I would sneak out and run because I'm like Fort Bragg is like the dog and pony show at the Army. So we were out in the field 5 out of 7 days of the week, rec market, marching, everything. I had to be physically fit and I had to keep up my endurance. And I would lose it if I was on profile. So I would sneak out, and I snuck out one too many times. First time I got fined for hurting government property. And the second time my captain caught me and he was like, I'm worried about you. I think you're hurting yourself. And he's like, I'm not going to let this happen, because he loved me. Like, we had a really good friendship. And he took me into the doctor, and the doctor's like, she keeps this up, she's going to be in a wheelchair by the age of 30. And I was like, no, I won't. I'm like, I'm stubborn. I'm like, bet. I'm going to watch. Like, I'll make it, And he's like, I'm going to give you 2 options since I'm in charge here. He's like, I'm going to either make you a leg, which means you can't jump anymore, which means you're airborne but not capable of jumping, which is worse than or he's like, or you can be medically discharged. Medical discharge is what you're going to take. Being a leg is like, it's like stripping somebody of everything they worked for. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, fine, I'm out. So I was only in a few years before he got a hold of me and was like, I'm going to do this for you. So I'm going to do you a favor and get you out of here before you hurt yourself. And I'm like, which I'm thankful, of course, right now. But at the time I was so broken. I was so hurt by him. I'm like, you're my friend. And he's like, I'm doing this for you. I love you. I'm like, you're kicking me out of the Army, dude. Like, what the hell? But I'm, of course, very happy about it now because I learned so much that, I learned later on, right towards the end, that I'm like, women don't belong in the front lines because men by nature are very protective and they'll risk too much for a woman in the front lines. And so it pulled me back and helped me to understand some of the beautiful differences between males and females. And I'm like, I'm going to try to be a girl now. That'd be fun. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, now I'm going to go and explore like my feminine side now that I'm out. So I'm really thankful because I needed that, I think, for myself.
So what were some of the life lessons you learned from being in the military?
Life lessons. Can't always trust your government.
That's a big one. Yeah.
That's a huge one, is that you really get kind of confronted with loyalty issues. It's like, what am I loyal to? And I think, of course, pushing yourself is always a good thing, into the unknown, pushing yourself into the things that you fear, pushing yourself beyond that threshold that you feel like is, way beyond your comfort level, can really teach you a lot in a short period of time. So that was a huge life lesson. And from there, every fear I've had, I've confronted, I've dove into, I've confronted almost immediately confronted it face to face to see what would happen. So yeah, those are probably the biggest life lessons.
So what'd you do after the Army?
What haven't I done? Like, I've done a lot since after the Army.
Let's do a little timeline. What'd you do after the Army?
Well, I worked multiple jobs. So after the Army, I went back home, visited. I was kind of just moving, not moving around, but just traveling and visiting different people from the Army that were home or that were on leave. And I would go explore their homes and kind of see where they were from, like my closer friends. And then I just ended up working. I was working at the bank during the day, UPS at night. I was a really hard worker. I was very physical. And I did that for years. And then uh, shortly after that is when the Lord encountered me, when I met him, and everything changed. My whole life got flipped. Like I was a completely different person as soon as that happened. And then my life went a different direction.
Explain the interaction.
The encounter?
The encounter, yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm feisty. Okay, so during the Army, I was exploring multiple religions because I wanted to find who is God, which one is the real God. I want to find my maker. Remember I told you that that's that path that I was on. I'm like, I will find my maker. I'm going to find who did all this. I want to know. And so I explored all these different religions, and I came up with a lot of beliefs that were cool, and like a lot of things I found interesting that I kind of like threw and made my own religion out of, my own belief system or way to live. But I never encountered my maker in any of them. And it finally got to a point where a few years after, I just remember like I had gone to churches, different kinds of churches, and I was just at a point of frustration that I was just so done. I was so fed up. And I just remember I had a carton of cigarettes, and I was like walking down into my apartment and into my kitchen, and there was a counter. And I just remember as I was walking in, there's something rising up in me that I was like, you know what? And I was sassy. I would not suggest this to anyone. Respect is always good. But I, was at that point where I'm like, you know what? You're so big and everything. You created this whole world. You can come down and meet me. I am done looking for you, whoever you are. And I threw my carton, and as it hit the counter, he showed up behind me in my kitchen, like the presence of like this power. And I knew immediately it was God. I knew it. I was like, I have tested him. I hit the floor. Bruh, I was like on the floor, and I was trembling. But I wasn't trembling from fear as much as like this power that I could feel. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. Fear, like, what did I do? What did I say? How did I talk? Like, I was freaking out. And what's so funny is in that moment, I knew everything I'd ever done wrong from birth. Like, I just knew it. I don't know how to explain it. It's not like it went through my mind. I just understood how truly corrupt I was as a human. And even without wanting to be, just how evil I could be, like even from being little and like lying or any of that, I could just understood it all. And I remember thinking, he's going to kill me and send me to hell. Like God is going to he's here to kill me. And I was thinking about who I was and justice. And I'm like, and it was the moment that I agreed with him that I'm like, you know what, this would be the right thing to do. I'm like, send me to hell. And in that moment, when I expected him to just demolish me, this love poured through me, like just through me. And I started crying. And the first thing I did was argue. I'm like, stop. What are you doing? This isn't fair. Like, you shouldn't let me. Like, what are you doing? This is not just, I was like freaking out, but this love was pouring through me, and I'm bawling. And I just remember crying so hard. That was just like, I just couldn't. There was just so much love. I didn't know how to respond. And I basically fell asleep on my floor. And it was like indoor, outdoor carpet, right? So I'm like, fall asleep, and it's like 4 a.m. and I wake up and I'm like carpet pace and like puffy eyes. And I'm like, what happened? I'm like, I am telling nobody about this. Like, this will make me, I already look weird. I'm like, people will want to throw me in the loony bin. Like, but everything looked different. Like my whole life just looked different in that moment. When I woke up, I was like, what just happened? Did I just meet God? And then at the minute I would think about him, this love would well up inside of me, and I'd be like, oh my God, like just so overwhelmed. And I just remember I was like, I need to go have a smoke and like think about this. So I grabbed a cigarette, and I was walking to the door, and this doorknob that was silver, I went to reach for it. And I'm like, that is so pretty. God made metal. I'm like, you did so good. And I just started crying. Like, I was so in love. I was just like, you're so amazing. This is so beautiful. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? So I go out, and the first thing I noticed was a tree. And I never really noticed nature. Like, I didn't really care about nature. But I was looking at it and I'm like, is that alive? Like, is there life in that tree? And I was like watching it and I'm like, that tree is alive. There's life in it. I can feel it. Like, I can see it. I can see the life in that tree. And I was looking at people. I hated people. Like, I was absolutely did not like people for years of my life. And this lady was walking by that walked by every morning. And she was out like really early. She was, at this time, it was maybe 5. But she's always up really early, and I got off late, and I would like run into her. I'd see her or something, and I'd always look away. I didn't ever want to interact with people. I just didn't want to look them in the eye. And she like looked at me and immediately looked away. And I was like, "Hi." I'm like, "I hope you have a good day." Like, I was so full of love. I just wanted to tackle her and like give her a big hug, And I was like, "What did you do to me?" I'm like, "What happened? What did you do to me, God?" And I didn't even know who he was. I just knew he was God. And I'm like, so I just started talking to him, and I'm like, okay, now that I know you're there and you're real, and I like met you kind of, but I was afraid to turn around and look at him. I'm like, I wish I would have looked at him, but I didn't. I was scared. But I'm like, who are you? Like, which one are you? And he's like, I'm the God of the Bible. And I'm like, you're the Jewish God? I'm like, what? I was so shocked. I'm like, you're what? Like, no way. I'm like the Christian one, because I'd been to so many churches, and the one I like disliked the most was the Christian churches.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the religions, I'm like, Christianity's a joke, So I'm like, that's you? I was because I'm like, it's like Six Flags over Jesus most of the time. It's just ridiculous, and a bunch of fake. Like, that's what I saw. It was a bunch of fake people, and so I was like, that's you? Like, what happens there? And I started reading like immediately. I was like, well, I guess I better get a Bible, because that's who I'm in love with. Like, I'm in love with my God. And I'm like, I want to know about him. Like, I want to read about him. So I started reading, and I realized like, oh, okay. So Christian churches aren't doing it at all. Like, what's actually supposed to happen. Like, that's a completely separate, like that is completely set apart from actually what it looks like, what the real is supposed to look like. Like, going to church is not even a biblical thing. We are the church. He lives in us. We're the temple of God. Right. Yeah. So it's like, going to church. What does that even mean? You go to a temple to worship your God? Like, he's in me. I am the temple. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, this whole idea, it got separated. Like, it got separated from what the truth was. And that was my path. That was my life with him began. And it's been that way ever since. It's always been about him from that point forward. I've learned a lot. I've learned probably the biggest thing I've learned over time and all these years is how little I actually know. Still, the more I learn, the more I'm like, there is so much I don't know. Sounds so exploring.
I like when people are like, I'm woke. And then I tell them, like, you know what the definition of woke is? They'd be like, what is it? I'm like, knowing that you know nothing.
Yeah.
And they're just like,
yeah.
What? Like,
yeah. When you get the reality of how vast, how much there is out there, even though you feel smaller, it feels comfortable just realizing I don't know very much, but I'm like making my way. We're all figuring it out. We're all figuring it out together, which is, I think it's beautiful. I love that there is, time to do that, time to continually learn, continually try to understand things. It's exciting for me.
You should write a book.
God, I know. Everybody's told me that.
Write a book.
I have. I've written many of them. I just haven't written one recently.
Write something, do something. But right. Like, go back to what you did, like when you were a child, like you were writing stuff. Go back to that. I
do it in poetry now. I summarize.
All right, where do you put your poetry at? I don't see it on Twitter.
It's all on my phone. Oh, I don't really share a lot. I don't know. I'm bashful. It's so funny because I'm so not bashful, right? But I'm so bashful, especially when it comes to like music and poetry. Like, I don't know. That's a little different. That's
okay. So I'm pretty sure live a little, take a risk.
Oh yeah, I do. I mean, I push myself out there. I even like
not poetry though. Like, what's up with that?
I have shared poetry on my stream. It just takes a lot. It's just like I don't know, because I'm not worried about it being judged. It's really personal. It's almost like taking those inner parts, secrets of myself, and like exposing them to light for the first time. I don't know. It's like, it's a part of, I don't know how to explain it. It's just kind of like.
Does the poetry help you?
Oh, yes. Yes.
You feel like the poetry can help others?
I think it can if it can be understood. but most of the poetry that I write, I make it's levels. It's like layers. It's like me. I work in layers. I'm very multifaceted, so I only show a few facets. And that's what I do with my poetry. So I wrote poetry to where it's like there's an obvious meaning to it that everybody can relate to, but the deeper meaning only I understand.
You feel like you'd be the only one that would understand? You really think that?
Yeah. To the deeper ends of it, yeah, because only I know exactly what I'm referring to. So I make little references that it's like an inside joke with myself. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll have word, like, even in my music, like I'll include somebody's name in it secretly in a way to where it's like a joke within, it's like me like stamping it with a part of my life that nobody would understand. But that little play on words is what's actually the meat of the poetry that nobody will catch unless they know the story. So it's like I don't know. That's how I write my poetry, is I write like the obvious layer and then there's this deeper thing going on underneath. So sharing that, I guess maybe I'm afraid of people wondering what that deeper layer is and why, and coming to wrong conclusions because they're pretty blunt.
Like your childhood?
Like my inner struggles, like the really deep struggles that I'm not ready to confront openly with everybody because I don't trust everybody. Yeah, so it can cause questions that I'm not ready to answer, but I'll answer them anyways because I believe that if it's a fear to answer it, that I have to. So I'd rather it not be asked because then I will answer it. And then I'm like, I'm forced myself to confront something. Yeah, I'm forced to confront something before I'm ready. And I'm like, well, here it goes. So it's like opening up door. It's like unlocking the doors for people to open that I'm not really ready to unlock just yet. I can do it inwardly. I just don't know if I want to do that with people yet. Does that make sense? So
perfect sense.
So music and poetry, those are the areas to where I feel like I unlock doors sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I invite people to ask me more deeper questions that I'm just not always there. I'm not always ready for that.
You mentioned you make music.
Uh-huh.
Like
I've written for
instruments,
years,
lyrics.
Mm-hmm. All of it. I'm actually more of a composer than I am a musician. So I'm not a great musician. Like I play piano, guitar, drums, bass, a little bit of violin. Enough to write a song and sing it. Like I've had on the spot live performances, and street, like I don't know. I used to be more bold. Like sometimes I'm bold. Sometimes I'm completely bashful. Other times I'm bold. But I'm not a good pianist. Like I don't play well, but I don't play guitar well. I don't even know how to write music or read music. I don't even know the notes on the piano, but I know what I hear and what I feel. And so I can find it because I just play by ear and I find things by ear. But as a composer, I hear entire orchestras in my head. So I can pick out the horns and what kind of horn it is. And I know what part it's playing and I can record that. And then I can go over to this, the different instruments, all the violins. And this is the violins, this is what they're playing. Because I can go over it in my head and hear it all over and over again. So I'm like a composer more than I would be a musician or like a singer. But I can't do it. I don't really have the capability. I don't have an orchestra where I can be like, you're going to do this and then you're going to do that. And then this is when it hits. But I can hear it. Like it's in me. You know what I mean? I wish I could do that. I wish I had an orchestra that I could just lead. It's just, that'd be amazing. That would be such a dream come true, honestly.
What's stopping you?
Too much work to get there. That would take a large part of my life to get to that point. And I'm not willing to give up all the other tens of thousands of things that I want to also do as much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
I'm like a gypsy. I'm all over the place. I like having that freedom to do that, to explore wherever I want.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned how you could just hear music and you could just do it. Because I'm the same way. I don't understand it, but like my buddy, some of my mods, they know, they were with me when I was creating music live. I was live streaming it. And I was literally playing the piano with my keyboard.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I was playing the piano with the keyboard, and it turns out I made like a very mellow beat, and I called it moon surfing because that's how it feels like you're surfing in space. It's weird. I'm the same way. I'm the
Don't you guys want to hear this now?
You want to hear the song?
Yeah. Can we hear it? Do we get to hear it, please?
Sure.
Yay!
just to let you know, just to let you know, is that there's a thing that you have to master the song, which means like make all the sounds blend together. I didn't get to do that. I know
about that.
Okay, so I didn't get to that part, but it still
rough.
sounds good.
This is the rough version. Got it.
All right, you ready? I don't know if you could be able to hear it though. You might have to turn on my stream for you to hear it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
But I hope it doesn't echo or anything.
I'm pretty sure it won't. All right, you ready? These are one of the things I'm nervous. Fuck, I'm bold. Let's go.
Yes. This would fit in one of your worlds that you painted.
Oh yeah, right here. Yeah.
It sounds like one of them, doesn't it? I love it.
Yeah. I never thought of that, but yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, there it is. I literally made that like off the whim. Yeah.
Doesn't it feel good when you can just create? Just poof, there it is.
Yeah, my friend, he's actually in the music industry out of California, and he gets on my butt all the time. He's like, dude, you'd be such a great producer. You can make millions. I'm like,
why don't you?
I found a new calling. This.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I feel like
this is the direction I need to go.
Yeah. I'm better. I feel like it's not just for me, though. I feel like the gaming industry needs this kind of new content to get to know people like you.
Yeah, that's really cool that you have it. I love that you have it. I actually wanted to go back and watch your other ones just so I could learn more about some of the other streamers. I'm like, I want to see. First, I wanted to experience it, though, with you. Like, I didn't want to watch all of it. When I was watching Preachers, I was like, I don't want to watch all this. I want to experience it fresh. And then I want to go back and see.
So you'd understand what you'd feel, what they feel when I ask certain questions and stuff.
Yeah. I wanted to see, I wanted to feel, interact with you and feel what this is about. Like, feel the vibe of what this is, and then go back and watch that vibe with other people and be like, oh, that's cool, but it's different. Like, I don't know. Just, I didn't want to have that to have any effect on our interaction.
And what do you think of it so far?
Genuine. Oh, I love it. It's totally my cup of tea. It is. I'm like, oh my God, this is a brilliant idea. What a beautiful way to bringing out, and especially your layout that you, like I said, that you had told me that you're like, oh, I kind of go with this character building. And I'm like, that's brilliant because it's so organized and yet it's so free. There's so much freedom and sharing. Yeah. And
shout out to my artist too, Silly Hats. He actually streams on Mixer. He actually streamed my logo live while he was making it. It was great. Really? And I was a part of it. Cool. And we would brainstorm together while watching his stream. Like, I was a part of the process of all this, which was great. I mean, him just brainstorm together, and here we are. Like, it's beautiful. It's awesome. But yeah, this is great.
What you're doing is great. I think what you're doing is great. I really hope it takes off. It's just, it's not going to be for everybody, obviously. Not everybody's interested on that kind of a depth, but for everybody who is and wants to feel that connection and really wants, to get a feeling of who these streamers are, it's epic. Like, there's no better place that you could go for that. It's already recorded. You're seeing real life interaction, in the moment with the questions. I love it. I think it's great. This is what I do for fun. This is what I do at coffee shops, is what you're doing. But nobody gets to see it. Yeah. If I go to a coffee shop, I'll make friends with everybody around me and I'll have 3 or 4 tables talking to me by the end of it. Deeply talking about life, crying. Like, bruh, I do this. I'm known for this.
I've
Like
always
going
been.
in.
I'm gonna have to learn how to do that with you because I feel like I have that gift to do that, but it's just it. Like you understand too. Like I don't want it to get to a point where I'm challenging, where I'm aggressively challenging somebody's perspective to the point where it's offensive. So that's where I'm like,
you know, that I've actually realized over time there are very few people that are offended. Most people want you to ask about them. They won't tell you that, but most people just want somebody to care enough to ask. But you can tell when people are asking with an agenda and when people are asking genuinely. You ask genuinely, and I think people can see that. So that's probably why people want to open up with you. Yeah.
all right, you sold me. I'm gonna start doing it. You know what? I'm even gonna have I'm even gonna. I was about to tell you, like, you should record it and put it on YouTube. So now I'm gonna start. That's some YouTube content right there. I'm gonna start doing that.
Like, I know, that'd be fun. Oh my god! Like I used to do with the camcorder. Go and interview people.
I'll be like, all right, today's special. I'm gonna meet up with LilBlastyBlast in San Antonio. We're gonna go to this coffee shop, make some people cry. Let's go.
No, seriously, that would be epic. We have to record it. We'll do it live
for sure when all this craziness is done.
Yes.
All right, so going back to you. Okay, this is all you. So we spoke about your encounter with God of the Bible. So you see life in a whole new perspective.
Yes.
How's everything that changed? So okay, so continue on from there. So you seen a tree, you seen somebody, like, you know, go through that journey with us. Explain that journey with us of you just seeing life in a whole new way.
So this is what I can tell you. You know how when someone's in love, when they first fall in love, okay, they cannot shut up about the person they're in love with. That's all they want to talk about. That was me with God. So when I first fell in love with him, I was like, wanted to shout from the rooftops, like how amazing he is. And the more I'd read about him and the more I would encounter him and talk to him and the more time I would spend with him, the more in love I was. And my family was like, whoa, because I was a bad kid. Okay. Not a bad, like I wasn't like ruthless, but I was risky and I didn't care and I was cussing and I was in the army and like, you know, I wasn't like doing like drugs or any of that stuff, but I, you know, I just was flying by the seat of my pants, didn't really have a lot of respect for anybody. Like I said, I didn't like people. And then all of a sudden I'm in love with everyone, very genuine. And I just want to reach out and just love people. And it was such a immediate, like literally overnight change that my family didn't quite know what to do with me. But they were like, it's beautiful, but scary. We're kind of nervous. Like, what are you going to do next? You know? And so they would kind of keep me at a distance. Everybody in my life, I lost a lot of friends because the minute I said I believed in God, they're like, I can't believe you changed. Like they would be mad at me and they literally would just cut me off. And I'm like, wow, some friends, you know, like, I guess they weren't really friends after all. And that as much as that hurt, I'm like, you're worth it, God. Like you're the only one I've ever had anyways that really understood me. So I'm glad I finally got to meet you, you know, and I don't ever want to lose this. But I did learn, like the more I learned, the more I would share, but I didn't know how to share without pushing people away or it being too much, because I'm a too much kind of person. You know, I can overwhelm people pretty easily. So I had to really, very quickly, he taught me that he's like, pull back. And he taught me how to be a good teacher. Because that's kind of how he approached me. Our first relationship was teacher student. It's turned into like father child and like all these other aspects have happened throughout the years. But the teacher child, like he taught me that he's like, you need to teach people where they're at, not where you're at as a teacher. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I need to approach people where they're at. And the only way I'm going to do that is to listen. Quit talking and just listen to where are you at. So I started asking more questions and then slowly talking to them about my experiences with God, and people would just open wide up and really just show me who they are, ask me questions, ask me for help, you know, and then I became a counselor. Basically, I've counseled people for years. I'm like, my life is so jacked. Why do you come to me? I'm like, do you see my life? I'm like, do you not notice that my life is in shambles?
Yeah, the polarity in that, you know?
But even now, even to this day, I have people that I'm counseling with almost every day. And I think they come to me because of the kind of counsel I offer is very real, very blunt, to the point. Like, we get deep just like that. I'm immediately like, what's actually going on? Because this is what I see. You're saying this, but this is what I'm seeing. And they're like, oh my God, that's what's going on. And I'm like, okay, so where did that come? What's going on? Like, what are we going to do with this? But I'm really blunt and I don't hold back truth. Like, they know they're going to get the truth no matter what. When they come to me, I'm going to be honest with them. I'll be gentle as I can, but I'm going to be completely honest with them about who they are, what they're doing, you know? So I've just established most of my relationships, and I'm kind of was known for that even shortly after meeting God, is counseling people secretly, privately. Like, I mean, I even got booted out of churches because I've confronted many pastors. I went from church. I've been kicked out of so many churches, and because I love God. And I'm like, you are not teaching these people. Like, if these are his people, you're misleading them. You're teaching them to pay you tithes. I'm like, that's not even in the new covenant. Like, I know a lot of Bible, so I'm like a little armchair theologian. So I would confront pastors and be like, what you're teaching is incorrect. That is biblically incorrect. Do you believe in the God of the Bible? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, is that who you believe you're teaching? And they're like, well, I try it. I'm like, you're doing it wrong. You're misleading these people so they pay you money. I'm like, quit stealing from the people of God, or I will out you. And sure enough, I would start outing them because they wouldn't want to correct it, and they would boot me out of the church. But guess what? I'd have whole families coming to my house on Sunday instead of going there. Or they would go there and call me right after and say, this is what the pastor preached. Is it biblical? And I'm like, yo. I'm like, and I would go through it for a while, but I'm like, you need to come over to my house. We're going to start having fellowship at my house, and I'm going to teach you how to read the Bible, so you can do this yourself. Because I don't want, Jeffy said, like, as an answer, yeah, because they would go to the pastor and be like, well, I talked to Jeffy afterwards, and this is what, and I'm like,
oh man,
I lead you to scripture. Thus saith the Lord. I'm like, God said, take that to them. Like, this, have something for yourself to read. Don't stand on me. I'm a human. I'm like, why would you stand on something I said? I'm like, that's it. You're following man. Quit following men. Follow God. I'm like, back to the, so I had a lot of people that would constantly counsel me until I would train them up, teach them how to fish, right? I teach them to fish and send them on their way. And they've done amazing things. Like, some of these people like have their own fellowships. It's been great. It's been really beautiful. But yeah, that's kind of where the Lord took me, is he got me into counseling people and just sharing with everybody.
And what'd you do for yourself?
Nothing. God does for me. I don't ever have to worry about me. God takes care of me.
Explain that.
None of my needs, none of my basic, like, my needs have ever gone. I've never gone without. Like, I'm not kidding. The amount of miracles that have been in my life are actually ridiculously awesome. Like, so people would hear about them, and then once they start spending time with me, they start seeing them, and they're like, whoa, this is real. Like, there literally are miracles in your life all the time. I mean, stuff like, I was single, raising my kids, single parent, and I would have an electric bill that would show up, and I'm poor, I'm like, I have no money. And this bill is $118, and I would suddenly get a check for $118 from some place I've never been to in a different state, like a car dealership in a different state. This actually happened for the exact amount of my electric bill. And I'm like, I've never been to this place in Colorado. So because I'm so moral, I called him up. I'm like, look, I've never been there. You cut me a check. I think you missent it, and I don't want to spend it because it would be wrong of me. And they're like, oh, I don't even know how you got the check. Go ahead and rip it up. And I'd hang up, and I'm like, defeat. I'm like, why did I do that? Why? I need money. And no joke, I was like, God, I'm trusting you. I did what was right. I know you're going to come through some other way, even though this was the exact amount and it was probably a sign from you. I'm like, I just am trying to do what's right. And they'd call me back, and you know what? We already closed our books for that quarter, so just go ahead and spend it because they don't want to reopen the books. I'm like, yes, I got my bill paid. And that is a consistent thing in my life. That's even since birth. Okay, even since birth, a lot of miracles. Like my kids are like, mm-hmm. Even since I was young, I've had miracles follow me. My family would walk in when I was little, and I don't remember this. I do remember a few times seeing the Lord when I was little, playing hide and seek, or just moments here and there. But I get lost. Like my whole family would be over with all the nephews and everybody. All the kids would be playing together, and I'd be missing. And I guess they would go on a hunt to find me, and I would be like they'd find me in my room, and I'd be like just praying, and there'd be a light. They're like, Jen, literally a light would be shining down on you. And so we would just shut the door because we wouldn't know what to do. We didn't want to interrupt. And this is before they were believers. Like this is before they believed in God, but they didn't. And they a few of them went to church, like my grandmother, but they didn't know how to handle it. And other times they'd find me just in prayer, just like in a closet somewhere praying. And they would come and they'd be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm talking to Jesus. Like, duh. You know what I mean? Like,
You're like, duh.
Don't we all do this? Like, this is normal, right? And they're like, okay, well, if you want to eat, there's food downstairs. I'm like, thanks. And they'd leave. And I and I don't remember, but they used to find things like that used to happen, but they'd actually see, like, I've had angels or people that have, like, me and my two friends that were lost, okay, when I was in high school. Or junior high. It was 9th grade. Walking, it was at night, we snuck out, okay. And this guy approached us and warned me. He looked right at me, and they were on both sides of me, and we were this guy, and it was at this car wash, okay. This car wash, it's like open bays. And he just comes walking up from this car wash, and we thought that maybe we didn't know what he was doing, but it was nighttime, like he shouldn't be there. And he walked straight up to me, and he's like, you need to go back home because there are things that need to be done, and you don't need to be out here. This is dangerous. And he only looked at me, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, who are you? Because I'm like attitude, right? I didn't have out of that time. I'm just like, who are you? I'm like, tell me. I'll stay out here if I want to, And I'm like, yeah, okay. But I felt like this thing holding me back where I'm like, I don't want to be too disrespectful. And I look at my friends, and they were looking at me. Who is this guy? And why would he walk up and say that? Was so bizarre, right? And he literally started walking away and just disappeared.
Wait, what?
And I looked at them, and I was like, wait, is this in my mind? Did this actually happen? And they were freaking out. They're like, did he just disappear? Am I the only one seeing this? And I'm like, no, it's you. Who are you? Like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, that kind of crap has happened to me, my father, my grandmother, like,
you on about?
Just different stories of like the encounters that I've had, the spiritual encounters and stuff.
Wait, what happened with the guy?
Okay, we're not going to get into. My kids know these stories. They just want me to tell them all over again. They always remember all the stories. Okay. Anyway, so actually, you have heard the story. The last time we talked about this, I told this you're ridiculous.
No, you didn't. I don't remember.
Anyway, so that I think I've told you guys all of the stories. You just need to write them down and remember them. Okay, go that way though. Thank you.
I have my shirt
Like
on.
my kids are like all of us putting their stuff on my desk.
Yeah, I see that. Like this ain't serious,
Yeah. Oh, you do have a shirt on. Okay, good. So anyway, so yeah, that's that has been a part of my life, is just my family. I mean, that was a big part of why I think they didn't know how to handle me. And I asked my mom later when I was older, I'm like, why did the family treat me so different? Why do they still treat me? And she's like, Jen, you're intimidating. Like, you scare everybody. And I'm like, well, that's great. Thanks, Mom. And she's like, no, like, there's power on you. There's something that has always been with you that just the family really just doesn't know how to deal with it. Like a power that's with you, or a light that's with you. And sometimes the light scares people. And I'm like, well, that's better said. That's easier to take, is that I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is why people walk wide circles around me. I'm like, I'm used to it. Floating. Yeah, that's the floating. That's the floating in between.
I have a personal question.
Yeah. How old am I? I'm 44.
Oh, that wasn't my question, but nice.
Yeah, I was answering Hybrid.
That's fine. I struggle with this. I have the same issue where people are intimidated by me because, like how you just said, like, because I know there's something in me, but it's like, I don't want to intimidate people.
No, I don't either. I've hated that word. In fact, Nightwing here, he's my mod admin, by the way, and he's a close friend. I've asked him many times that I'm like, explain to me again why people are intimidated. Like, how can I change this? And he's like, I don't know. It's like this and that. And he's trying to explain it to me. And a lot of people, I've asked a lot of people just to really get a grasp on like, what does it mean to be intimidating? I don't want to, I'm such a big lover, like people to like be pushed away from me. But you know, I think I have understood different reasons why people can be intimidating. And a lot of the time, really what it comes down to, I think the most basic understanding is people fear what they don't understand. Period. They just fear what they don't understand. It's scary. You don't know what you're going to get.
I agree with that, but basically, okay, thank you for sharing, by the way. But the question, the core of the question is that, how do you deal with it, though, is what I'm saying. Are you saying, like, you're trying to see from their perspective why they have this intimidation towards you?
Yeah, because I feel like it pushes people away. When really all I want to do is to get closer to people. And so it's counterproductive to me. So it's just, I'm trying to find a solution. But I realize you can't find a solution when it comes to that, because that's part of the draw for the right people. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, this is how I dealt with it. This is what I learned in this. Ready?
Yeah.
But this is because of my faith. You're not supposed to attract everybody. And you're not going to push everybody away. When somebody is meant to connect with you, they will. Because it will, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens right on time. So the way I look at my stream, okay, my community, every single person that comes into my stream is supposed to be there on the day that they're there. And if they stay, it's because they're supposed to be there. And they actually have a function with all of the other people to have an effect on everybody else in the community, including myself. So there's a purpose that I'm seeing. I'm seeing purpose in all of it. So I had to learn that with intimidation, there's a purpose for it. And I have to be okay with that purpose, is that it does seem like it pushes people away and I feel misunderstood. That's just personal. And if I'm concerned about it, I can become really selfish about that I'm like, love me, you know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, now that I understand the purpose of it, that I'm like, well, that intimidation factor, it takes a different kind of person, or somebody takes a chapter of their life to get them in the position to where they will reach out to you, even though you have this intimidation factor. And maybe that's what they need. So it's like, maybe they need to be strong enough to push past the intimidation to be strong enough to all the truth I have to share with them. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's a good filter for people to be ready to absorb what I'm about to pour into them, because it can be a lot. So now I don't mind it, because now it's a safeguard for them, not for me, a safeguard for them. Maybe, I don't know. I'm kind of guessing, but that's what I believe. And that's what I feel. Even if that wasn't the purpose, there is a purpose. And I do believe that.
Yeah, I like how Hybrid says it in chat. He says, sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes people need a little push and they're waiting for you to make the first step. Some of my thing is that, because I had a conversation with Ice Rocker last week about this, is that she feels bad for telling people what to do. And I told her, it's like, sometimes you have to be the lesson that they've never had. So it's just, that's what I learned from it. But
that's like learning from somebody else's experience you're talking about? Yeah. I think that that definitely brings understanding. I don't think that brings experience to people, but it prepares them for their own. And that's what I think parents do. I think that's what parents should do. I think that's primarily what parents should do, is share their lives with their children so that their children are ready for theirs. Yeah. They're learning what to do and what not to do, even the things that are unspoken. Just being real and living your life around somebody can teach them so much. And as a parent, I'm very open, completely honest with my kids, and I invite accountability from them. So that they can truly see what it's like to be. And I have to remind them that I'm like, yeah, like they'll come down on me. They're like, Mom, you're just, you feel like you're not there for me, and we just feel neglected because you're always busy working and blah, blah, blah. And they have these complaints, and you do this wrong, you do that wrong. And I literally, when I get to the point of breaking down, I'm like, powwow time, which means that we all sit in a circle and everybody has a voice. We have to listen. Everybody gets to say whatever they actually feel, but you have to try to be gentle and loving. But I'll tell them, I'll just break down, and I'm like, guys, I'll be honest, I've never done this before. I've never had 4 teenagers before in my life, and this stage of their life. And I've never been in this stage of my life. I've never been 44 before. this is all new to me and you're looking to me and expecting me to know what to do. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm literally winging it. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, it all could fall apart, but I'm still trying and I really could use your help. And it's like, it's those moments that really hits them that they're like, you're human. Like, you know, because you put your parents on a pedestal, you have all the answers. Or we put people on pedestals. You have all the answers. Just help me, lead me. And then they come off the pedestal and we're disappointed. So I constantly remind my kids that I'm like, I am blowing it. I don't notice, but I am constantly blowing it. And I have no idea what I'm doing. We're in this together and help me out here. And guess what that brings out in them? Purpose. They start blooming in their own gifts because now they want to help because they realize she doesn't know what she's doing. Let me step up with what I have to offer. It gives them purpose, a sense of purpose. And that's what they need because they're here for a reason.
Where's their father?
So my first husband is my oldest, Isaac. Isaac is my oldest. He's 20. His father has been gone. We lasted a year. And then he got, I didn't want children, never want to be married. I like already compromised getting married, but I was like, oh, we're adventurous. We're going to travel. He was kind of a nomad like me. He was like, you know, that gypsy freedom going on. And it was just going to be exciting. And then he decided a year in that he was a child. And he was like, you need to, you know, you're my Christian wife. Like you need to give me children. And I'm like, we agreed no children. I'm like, okay, fine. You know, this is my job and I'm all you're going to have. So I will, you know, I'll give you a child. The minute I got pregnant, he freaked out and left. So he's like, I'm not father material. And he took off. So I was like, it's okay. I'll just throw Isaac in my backpack and we'll go. I mean, I got a little buddy now. So I did that. And then my second husband was the other three, their father. And I was with him for 10 years, well, 9.5 years. But he was an alcoholic and a gambler. He was secretly for a good, the whole time I was getting to know him. But as soon as we married, then it came out. I'm like, how did you hide this much? Like, how did I not see this? Because he wasn't really throwing himself into it. But at that point, he threw himself into it and he was like living a wild life. So he was gone all the time. He'd be gone for like weeks at a time. I was very devoted. No matter what, he'd be like, you know, strip clubs or hot tub parties with girls or doing God knows what. And he'd come back and I just forgive because I knew the Lord, you know, at this time I was saved. So I was like, I'm just going to keep loving you. I'm like, I'll chase you down the street and overcome you with my love. You ain't going to break me. But the minute my children are hurt by it, and they were, once he made us homeless, like I'd worked really hard. I separated from him for 9 months, moved down to Las Cruces, New Mexico from Cheyenne. I left him in Cheyenne. I'm like, go find the Lord yourself. Go get yourself together. When you're all put together, I'll still be waiting for you. I waited for all 9 months, didn't really talk to him. Didn't divorce him though. Raised the kids by myself, established my own home. I was homeschooling and working a full-time job. Like I was doing a lot. And everybody, his family and friends were like, he's changed. He's like in the Lord now. And so I let him back in. And within 3 months, he made us completely homeless. And I had zero in the bank. I mean, all my savings, broke my car. Like it was just too much of a temptation. There's like gambling halls, like every corner in New Mexico. And that was the point that I'm like, and now we're done because you just made us homeless and now you're hurting my children. And I'm like, Mama Bear comes in. Like, I love you from a distance. Like, I will never give up on you. We're still friends. We've been friends since then. Like, he's still a friend, but my trust level, of course, is like, I wouldn't touch you with the, do you know what I mean? I'm like, never again, never again. I don't believe in once something's done, it's done. And I'm okay with that because the relationship changes. And now we're friends and I love him from a distance. But yeah, that's those two. That's their fathers. So, but he's followed us. So it's the one thing I will give this much to him. No matter where we've moved, he's been homeless and everything just to move and be around the kids. And he's still trying to get here to Texas and be in San Antonio so he can have visits, so he can spend some time with the kids. And that's huge to do that for the last, another 10 years, more than that, maybe 15 years, last 15 years.
So how is it raising the kids by yourself?
I honestly don't know how I've survived it. When I look back, I'm like, it only is God, truly. I can't even tell you how difficult yeah, like people are like, hats off to you, single parent. I'm like, you don't. How crazy and how stressful. Because one of the biggest stresses is that I have to be both mom and dad. So I can't be the nurturing mom that I want to be. I have to be the stern dad because I'm outnumbered. I'm like, I don't know if they noticed or not. I'm outnumbered. I'm like, so one of them rises up, two of them rises up. I can maybe handle them when they're young. Three of them gets a little out of control. Four, I'm outnumbered. Like they will overtake me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, I have to keep things. So I raised my kids. I didn't have a mom that was around me growing up. So I didn't know what it would look like to be a mom. Like my brother raised me pretty much. Like he was my everything. And he was terrible. Like he did his best, but I'm like, he was a couple years older than me, right? So he was like into drugs, and we were skater punks. We were just troublemakers and running away all the time and thrown in detention homes. Like that was my experience. So all of a sudden I have these 4 souls that I'm a steward over and I have to raise. And I'm like, I have no idea how to do this. But I'm going to do the best that I can. So in order to keep the peace and keeping order in the house, I learned that from the Army. So I'm a drill sergeant. Like they used to call me drill sergeant. As a put down, they used to call me drill sergeant, but I'm like, don't make me drop you. I'm like, say it again. I'm going to drop you. You're going to give me 50 right now. Like I used to have them physically like punish them by working out. That's the only new thing I knew about parenting was this is what the Army taught me. Let's try this, a pecking order. So they were raised in a pecking order. Like the oldest answers for the youngers, and they all answer to the one above them.
Is it still like that?
Mm-hmm.
That's dope. I like that.
Yep. It's the only way I knew how to do it, how to keep order and not have all hell break loose. But in order to be a drill sergeant, my nurturing side had to be pushed aside. And when that comes out, they're like, "Mom's a nurturer, everybody jump," and it's like, what? Like they all jump on me and like take, you know what I mean? So it's like, I had to try to balance that throughout the years. And let me tell you what, my kids they've missed a lot. They've missed a lot of mothering. They have a father that's not even a dad, that's not even a man. Do you know what I mean? It's how hard is that for them? That is so unfair to them that they didn't get either. They didn't get a dad and they didn't really get a mom. So that they got a drill sergeant. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I love you. Like, I don't know. I'm like, I didn't know what else to do. But here we are and we're all safe and healthy. And look at you guys are absolutely amazing. Like they are the coolest people. Aside from the fact that they're my kids, they're just cool people, period. Like I would be friends with all. Like they bloomed, but they have I know they have a lot of hurts and stuff that they haven't even confronted yet because of it. So that's unfortunate.
How do you handle that though? How do you plan to handle that?
Well, I know that it makes them who they are and it's making them who they're supposed to be, even when it's hard, even when it's like, I'm watching and I'm like, I wanted better for you. What is better? What is better for them? I want them to accomplish their task on this earth. And if this is what it's going to take for them to be trained, we're in training right now. This is training down here. According to my faith, we're down here, 70 years? That's nothing compared to eternity. I'm like, take this 70 years to train. This is boot camp down here. And if it's hard, it's okay. That's good for you. Like boot camp. If you're like, your muscles are getting ripped and torn, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. Does it hurt? Hell yeah, it hurts. But it's good for you. And it's the same thing with them having tragedies in their life. It's the same as us facing loss. It's good for us. We just don't realize it at the moment because all we feel is pain. But it shapes us and makes us capable of doing what we're called to do. And so that's how I plan on handling it, is just going with it and just doing my part to ease the pain as much as I can, but still let them grow by it.
You're badass.
Thanks. Thank you for the support, man.
Yeah. Like you're like, I see it in the chat too. Like for the circumstances that's been given to you and what you have to handle, it's turning out extremely well due to your methods and your heart and your spirituality all involved. And I congratulate you on your success so far.
Thank you. I do find that a success is that we're still here. We're still hanging in here and still learning. And I appreciate that because it's been really all God. I can't even take credit for it, to be honest. I'm just like, thank you. It's not me. Like, I'm literally like, I'm like the misfit of God's family. I'm like the bad girl of God's family. And I'm like, he just puts up with me. I don't know why he loves me, honestly, because I'm like, I have done everything you could possibly do wrong as a Christian.
Yeah.
But like literally, I've done everything. I've gone into like cults to you know what I mean? Like to completely like, I don't like you anymore, God. I'm going to go to the world. Like I've done it all. And the fact that he's still so kind to me and like so loving. And that I'm like, how are my kids even alive? I'm like, by God's grace alone, that is the only way they have not killed each other. And like things haven't fallen apart. So I can't take any credit for it, but I do find that to be success is that I'm like, I'm a perfect example of how God can take a total disaster and just turn beauty, just make it into beautiful, you know?
Art.
There we go. He's a creator.
Right.
Actually, probably
Creators.
my favorite trait about him is that he's creative, because I relate, of course, to that.
Definitely has his ways to create opportunities as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's
and
what
look
I've
at animals
noticed.
aren't creative. There's nothing else on this planet that's creative besides us. That's how we're made in his image. That's why I'm like, we are like you that way. And we laugh. Those two things. Those are huge. You know how impactful that is? Think about that.
Yeah. One of the biggest things I learned is like try to teach a dog the concept of tomorrow. It's like we're really the only animals in the world that's just like that understands time.
We have reason. And there's nothing else. Nothing else in the world has reason like we do. They don't reason. They don't build, they don't create, they don't laugh. There's not like, you know, that's why it's like people are like, we're made in God's image. God looks like me. Well, that word actually means characteristics, like in the way that you're created. And I'm like, there's so many things like, you know, he created the world, speaking it into the existence. So our words are very powerful. And we need to recognize that, you know, who we are as humans, who we are as souls. I don't even think like there's so much humans, but our souls, what kind of creatures we are. If we are like God in any form, we should really hold on to those things because it's such an honor. You know, being creative is an honor. It's a beautiful, powerful thing. So our words are powerful and so moving. And they can change life. They can change the course of the entire world. A couple words. Somebody standing up on a mic and saying a couple words. Bob Marley, for instance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's our responsibility because those words can be used for evil, as history has showed. So
the weightiness of it, that's anything that's beautiful and valuable is weighty and scary. You know, there's a lot of responsibility that you need to take with that. And people can be so irresponsible. It makes me sad. And I'm like, you're going to regret so much at the end of your life because you just don't realize how powerful you are. You know, all these people feel so weak and scared and they just want to, like a lot of suicidal people that come into the stream. And I'm like, you think that you're weak, but you're so powerful. And if you just got a hold of that, then everything would hit, reality would hit and be like, whoa, you know what I mean? It tends to like get that reality check of my life and how I live it is going to affect the whole world because there's a domino effect. Right?
Really all it is, yeah.
I affect 5 people who affect 10 people who affect, it is going to change the world. That thing, that path that God has me going on in the world that changes everything. What if it was death I was bringing instead of life? That's what's scary.
You could easily do it. So like going back to your dream, you could, by choice and responsibility, you could easily do a 180. Take all that life away.
Exactly, which I have. That's why I'm like, why do you even love me? I'm like, I have failed. I'm a failure. And he's like, I love you.
It's like, no, you're human is what you are.
He like spanks me and then he like cuddles me. And I'm like, thank you. I needed that. He's so easy on me. Actually, God is so easy on me. I'm like, am I weak? I'm like, is that why you're so gentle to me? And it's because really I'm fragile on the inside. I look tough on the outside and I am tough on the outside. But beyond that toughness, I'm extremely fragile, and God knows that. So He handles me very fragile, like very gently.
That's something I learned in the military. It's like the harder the shell, the softer the inside. That's what I realized.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's awesome. Okay, so let's get into the whole why you're on Mixer. So how'd you even start streaming?
So by accident, like I was saying earlier briefly, I told, I didn't even pick Mixer. Mixer chose me. Like Mixer picked me. No, basically just because I was on Xbox and they changed their name to Mixer, and I realized that they could record your VODs, you know. And we had done, the people I was playing with, usually on Destiny or Overwatch, like we would just do stupid crap. Destiny, we would do all kinds of stupid crap that was hilarious. So I had to record everything. My Xbox got full, and I'm like, wait, this program records your VODs? I'm like, I'll just do that. Started broadcasting, got people into the stream, showing up on they showed up on my screen, and I'm like, are you in the game? I know nothing about streaming at this point, like nothing. And fell in love with them. They taught me everything, you know, told me, plug in and connect, we want to see you. I'm like, why? They're like, because we like watching your reaction. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Exploded and grew. All of a sudden became a big streamer before I even knew what I was doing. And thank God for my community. Honestly, it's just kind people that came in my community and taught me, like, this is what you do. This is what a green screen is. Like, this is how it should look. This is how the chroma key works. And you should use this app. Like, I literally was carried as a streamer. I even grew by being carried by other bigger streamers. You know, so that's why. And honestly, I just believe God plopped it in my lap, because what's really awesome about this is just one of the many miracles. At the time that I found Mixers, whatever, when it changed their name to Mixer, my second son was going through a hard time. He started like dabbling in drugs with some of his friends and drinking, and he started getting out of control. And so I was a manager at 3 different gyms. But I was at one main gym. I was a manager, and I had the keys. I opened up. I couldn't just leave. But I kept getting calls from the school to come and pick up my son because he's in trouble, or to go to a class for that, you know, for him to like learn whatever stuff from the courts. And and I couldn't just take time off, but I needed to be there for him because I was gone working. He had way too much freedom, way too many things. He was doing way too much. And I couldn't be there to watch him or to like be that influence for him. And I was like, God, this is on you. I'm in this position. It's not my fault. I have to be both mom and dad. I have to be the provider who's out working and the mom who's supposed to be at home. And I can't choose. I can't do both. So fix this. Like, do something. I don't know what to do. There's nothing I can do. I'm in tears. I'm just, you know, like, Blaze, just do something. And literally that next week is when they changed their name to Mixer. I started accidentally basically broadcasting, exploded in a month, and suddenly I'm a streamer. But I'm working at my job at the gym, and then I'm coming home and streaming all night and not sleeping. Like, I literally would stream, turn off my stream, get dressed, and go to the gym, and I'd be like lifting 100 pounds weights and putting them away. And I just had energy. Like, God just gave it to me. But I grew so quickly that I started making as much money streaming as I was at my job. And I was like, oh, I see what you did there, God. I'm like, okay, get it. This is what I'm doing. I can be home.
Yeah.
And you just literally handed this to me to help me out. And I've been home ever since, streaming. God has kept it up, even though I'm like, why do y'all watch me? I'm so boring. You know, I'm like, why are you here? I'm like, really? It's my community. It's freaking amazing. That's why people are around. It's my community is like, all the people in my community are so much fun. Like, they're my entertainment. I get on for me to be entertained by the people in my community because they're so much fun. So really, I'm like, really, it's not that just God is helping me to provide and be home for my kids while they're troubled and trying to like find their way through all the hardship we've been through. But he sent also so many people to help and like not only carry the stream, but like donate and help feed us and pay my bills so that I can be here with my kids and say they never had a mom. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, you don't even understand how God's using you guys. Like, I just wish I could hug them all and just be like, I love you so much. Like, oh my God, God is totally using you. And just being who you are, just your personality alone is like getting, you know what I mean? I'm like, my community is carrying me and my children, and my kids feel it. I feel it. We can't be thankful enough. Like, that's a hard thing, is when you're filled with so much gratitude that sometimes you just want to explode, but you don't know how to show it in a way that really, really they get it, you know? So I cry And then that they play on it, right? So like we have a crying emote because every time I start getting taken care of and start feeling that love, and I realize God is bringing people in and they have purpose and they're beautiful people and they're like doing their part. And I know they're going to be blessed by it, and I'm getting blessed by it, and they're taking care of me. The tears start flowing. So now they love it. They want to see me cry all the time. And I'm like, cut it out. Like, I don't want to be crying on my stream all the time. But yeah.
That's awesome.
Don't let her little sweet voice fool you. She's a bully. I can be a bully.
You can't
But
be a
only
bully
for you trolls.
Oh yeah, the trolls for sure. You gotta show them what's up. Gotta put that hammer down on them.
Well, see what happens is I get the really funny trolls stream and then I mod them.
What? Really?
All my mods are so trolly, but they're like the good trolls, not like the bad trolls.
So when the when the trolls come in, they know how to out troll them.
Oh, they fight over who gets to eat them first. Like they are hilarious. I'm like, what did I do? Like
That's
I took the two top trolls.
That's actually great. You just gave me a huge idea for my. Okay.
Yeah. It's almost like taking
brilliant.
the criminals and turning them and putting a badge on them.
Yeah.
Right? They know how to think like them.
Yes.
Like they know exactly what to do. That's exactly that.
Yeah. Yeah. Best way to deal with a troll is get a better troll.
Oh yeah. Nobody can get one up on my troll. Like on my trolls. On my mods. My mods are on top of it. Yeah. They can see right into. A lot of them have really good sense of character too.
Yeah.
They can tell when somebody's trouble before I can. Nightwing especially. And he's my mod admin. I have 2 mod admins. He and Peach. And he could be like, I can see this one is going to be trouble down the road. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. No, I don't see that at all. He's always right. Always. I'm like, how do you know? And he's like, I know people. Like, this is why I trust you.
I know my kind.
Exactly. I'm like, there's a reason you know this, buddy.
Yeah. Explain your experience when you got partnered.
So I grew so quickly that I was only a month in. And at the time, the standards were you needed to have 50 for 2 months. And I'm very much a rule follower. I'm such a nerd. Okay, I'm a total nerd. But I'm like, no, we must follow the rules and do it like exactly. But I had all these streamers, Jared FPS, Lucky, like all these bigger streamers that actually helped me to grow. They were like they'd come in and message. They're like, go for partnership now. And I'm like, no, I don't have 2 months. They're like, you will get partnership. Go right now. I promise you're going to get partnership. Well, I didn't know that they were like helping lead Mixer at the time.
Ooh, okay.
And not lead it, but they were really influential voices. Right. So they were like, do it now, get partnered. And I'm like, no. And not only that, I wanted to make sure it was my growth, that it was legitimate. So nobody would ever question that. Like, I'm really good about covering my tracks with everything. I don't know why I'm like that, but I'm like, I want everything to be in place because I don't want anything being turned, any stone being turned over to where it's like, aha, you know? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it right. And I immediately got partnered. I mean, it was just easy. And I'm like, wow, I wasted how much longer that I could have been partnered and having subs. And I'm like, maybe that they were right. I'm glad that I did it the way I did it though, because it did become an issue later with some other partners. But becoming partnered with Mixer was exciting, but I didn't really understand what being a streamer was. We're talking like 2 months in to streaming. So I'm like, okay, I'm a partner. I guess I get a sub button and people are like, they can sub to me every month. Like, that's interesting. Like, yay me. I'm like, I don't even know what that means or like if that means anything to anybody. You know, now, over time, then it really did. Because I had to fight. I really put in a grind of hours. I accidentally did a 26-hour stream once because of grinding for partnership. Yeah, because I kept getting hosted over and over and over by all these big. And I'm like, well, guess we're going to stay on for a couple more hours. And then I'd start having too much fun and stay on too late. And finally, I was like, why am I this tired? I could feel like a zombie. And my uptime is 26 hours. So I'm like, I should go to bed.
Gosh.
Yeah. On the weekend.
Well, shout out to everybody that helped you out. That's amazing. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
And you said this was, so you pretty much got partnered 2 years ago.
No, I've been partnered over 2 years. I started right after they changed to Mixer, remember? So they were Beam.
I don't know when they changed the mixer though.
Okay, so I started, it'll be, so I started September, got partnered in January. So my very first stream was September 26th, but I streamed like literally once or twice a week for a little bit. And then I just started streaming consistently in like November. So I had all of November and December to grind for basically to get 50 concurrent viewers, which I was already getting, like I said, in the first month. But like the month of November is when I just exploded and got to like 30,000 follows. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do with this? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing, you know? And so it was only within a few months that I exploded. I had all these views. I had changed my whole group of mods because some of my mods were completely out of control. They were my friends and they thought they had the rules and reign to do whatever they want. I have to mod you. And I lost some friendships in it. And it was really unfortunate, but like everything was changing so quickly. It was exciting. That's how my partnership went. So it'll be what, 3 years? 3 years this September that I've been streaming. September 26th was my first stream.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that. That's
Thank
dope.
you.
That's so amazing. All right, LilBlastyBlast. So we spoke about your character creation. With every character creation, we always set attributes. Hold on, let me fix this. I'm messing up.
Dude, it's nonstop countertone.
Yeah, so we always set attributes.
Really bad.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna name off a few characteristic traits, and you rate yourself from 1 to 5. 5 being the highest. And of course, chat, I would love for your participation and put your opinion on what the number is. Of course.
Please.
All right, first one, curiosity.
5, easy.
Why?
Because I'm always full of questions. Always have been since birth. I'm always looking to. I always want to learn more. I'm a student of life at all times.
Student of life.
Yes,
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time you did something for the first time?
The last time I did something for the first time?
Yes.
I don't know. I try to mix things up all the time, even little things, but like a big thing, maybe.
Sure, that's something that stands out
So
for
like,
you.
Well, I cooked something I've never cooked before recently.
Which was what?
What was the last one that I cooked? Because I always try to like cook something. Like cheesecake's gonna be my new one. I've never made a cheesecake. That's actually gonna happen this week. What did I cook that I had never cooked before? I think I told you guys. And I'm like, look, I've never done this. I don't remember what it was that I cooked, but that was something new that I did. But I do that stuff all the time. Like anything that I do normally, you know how like you do things the same way. There's like a way that you do stuff. Like you shower the same way in the same order all the time, right? Mm-hmm. Try mixing it up just to throw yourself off. It's fun. Like just do it different, just out of nowhere for no reason at all. Other than to throw yourself off of your rhythm, because you could find another rhythm really easily out of that. You never know.
Yeah.
It's just kinda...
It reminds me of
Meat
like
lovers, rat to shut up. Oh my God.
I remember trying out like when you put on like pants or shorts or something, we always have that one leg we put in first.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I tried the opposite leg a few times. I'm like, this is freaking weird.
It feels weird, right?
Yeah, it's so weird.
It keeps things fresh. It really does keep things fresh and helps you. You know, I think it's a good practice of adaptation. You should be adaptable because life never goes like you plan it, ever. Never. Not a single person on this planet can say, life has turned out like I planned. Not a single person. So it's good to throw yourself off and then learn to adapt to it. To me, it's a little challenge. It's like little mini games. So as far as doing something I have never done before, I do it all the time. It's like little mini games. I'll do something differently than I've done it. I think the newest thing I've tried is actually getting on stream and doing the deep end, which is, so a deep end is something I started on my stream, which is getting on and opening up like I am with you right now.
It's like an emo podcast. Instead
of being the streamer, because I kind of had this view of what a streamer should look like for years. And I finally was like, you know what? I'm just going to completely throw that out the window and just be me on stream, live, and be completely open. And I called it deep end to the deep end because I normally run extremely deep at all times. But people don't know that. They didn't know that on stream because I'm like playing video games and laughing and being goofy or being like aggressive and competitive. And that's the only two sides they knew. They didn't know that part of me. So throwing pottery was a new thing. And I kind of opened up a little bit with them there and they liked it. And I'm like, what if I threw my whole image of what a streamer needs to be out the window and stopped trying to do my job and just was me on stream? Like, God, can I do that? Is that being like good? Am I a good steward over my job if I do that? You know, and so I had to like pray about it, but I just went with it. And now I love it. I think they like it.
How long have you been doing it?
Enjoy it. It's the best ever. Thanks, Premier. I think we've done it 5 times now, guys. Is that right? About 5 times? But it's not just me talking. It's me asking them, like, how are you doing? What do you feel? And then I'm hearing all of their perspectives. Mm-hmm. So it's a time for them to open up and share. Anybody can talk. Anybody can share. And I try to read all of it out loud so that everybody hears, so they're heard. And that's something I've never done before. It's like facilitating a deep conversation with multiple people. I'm usually a one-on-one counselor. And I get deep with one-on-one or just talking about myself, but to include everybody else has been amazing. Like some of the perspectives I get from the people in my chat, like the most unforeseen people. It's like, you know, it's a kid that's like young, like he has to have permission to be in my stream because it's 18 plus stream, right? And he's in there acting like an adult, and some of the things that come out of him, I'm like, oh my God, like that's so impactful. Like, that's awesome that it came from you. Like, I don't know, just like the people that you don't think, like you just see them a certain way and then they shock you when it gets to the deep end.
Yeah.
Shock you. I love being shocked. It's one of my favorite things ever.
We all have. There's always something. Was it never judge anybody because they always know something that you don't.
Yeah.
It's great. Amazing.
Yeah, that's like the newest thing I've done, I'd say. It really took a step.
Loyalty.
5.
Why?
I'm loyal to a fault. I don't know. I feel like I feel like I even push wisdom aside for the sake of being loyal. Because, and you know, I wonder if it's because I've had abandonment issues from my past, from my childhood or from my past, or if it's just in my nature. I've tried to figure out, like, what is the source of this loyalty that I have? Because I am literally, once I put all my chips in with somebody, it's to the death. Like, even if they never talk to me again, I'm still praying for them and I'm still hoping for them and I'm still loyal. I don't know how to explain it. There's changes in relationships that I'll make because there's loyalties. So, for instance, like my ex, very loyal to him. Didn't matter what he did. I stayed loyal. I won't cheat. I'll always be here for you. I'll do exactly what I said I was going to do, period. Hands down. Until it comes to my kids that I'm more loyal to. Or let's say my kids I'm super loyal to, but I'm more loyal to God than any human. So really it's just a matter of which loyalty is above the other one. But I'm extremely loyal on all accounts. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say 5.
Patience.
1.
All right. I was hoping I would find one that's a 1 at least. But there we are. We got it. We found it. All right. So,
Shout out, Nightwing.
So why is it so bad?
Yo, I don't know. Army? I don't know. I'm tolerant. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm very efficient. I'm like the efficiency police. And I'm very impatient when people drag their feet. And I think so much of it came from my mom raised us this way, which is like, go, 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 go. Like, hurry up. Everything. She was in a hurry all the time. And so I was always like a nervous wreck until I like got into the rhythm of always being like quick, always being ahead of everybody else, with making sure everything's prepared and ready and we're going to go and I can hurry and pick up and move, growing up. And then with my kids, I had to train them that way because there's 4 of them and we couldn't get anywhere. You know what I mean? Like if I go, like a drill sergeant, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. You need to be on top of it. And like really expecting that there's no way we could function the way we needed to function, get to places when we needed to, be done by the time we needed to. So I've been in this hurry up mode. And so much of that is like the Army, right? Because I learned from the Army how to raise my kids. So the drill sergeant, efficiency, there's no waste. You can't waste time. But then it's hurry up and wait. And you waste a ton of time really. And then what exactly did I learn? I don't know where I got this from, but I tell you what, I can be very impatient. And what's funny is it can come across as intolerance a lot of the time, but I'm actually an extremely tolerant person. But I think I'm split. There's like the warrior side of me that's just like so intolerant. And then there's like the super soft side of me that's like too intolerant or too tolerant and then intolerant. So
what challenges that line for you?
My goals, my motives. So like, let's say I'm in a game. Okay, a lot of it is like the game that I play on stream. Let's talk about stream. Mm-hmm. If I'm playing a game that's chill and I just am in the mood to have fun, I'm tolerant. I'm more patient. And I know what to expect. So I don't have like this goal out there that I need to accomplish, like win the game. So let's say sub days. I have sub days every Tuesday. I already get into more of a chill attitude on Tuesdays because everybody's at different levels. I'm not going to expect us to win. It's not a standard that I feel like I need to reach. And so I throw the standard out and my focus is fun. So of course I'm going to be more patient and tolerant with everybody. Mm-hmm. And more patient with how long it takes them to get into the stream and how long it takes them to get into the party. Now inwardly I'm like, hurry up, you know what I mean? Like, but I hold it back and like practice patience. Whereas if I'm playing a game to win, I do not put up with crap. I'm like, no, wrong, do it again, do it better. But that's how I was trained in gaming. I played with really, really good teams, like semi-pro people. That's who I learned gaming with. And they would put me down. They'd scream at me. Like we'd do Destiny raids. And if I blew it, the whole team would scream at me and put me down. Like you got to be thick skinned. Mm-hmm. Like they're like, how could you do that? Why would you do that? Why didn't you? Don't you? Stupid. Like they were abusive almost, but I got trained. I'm used to military. So I'm like, that is nothing. Like that didn't even faze me. Yeah. I'm like, you're right. It was my fault. I won't mess up again. Watch me. And I would improve. And that's actually how I became a better gamer very quickly. So I appreciate it, but I come across that way in a stream with people that are not used to that. And I'm like, oh, they don't like that. And I'm like, oh, I should probably take it a little bit, but I can still show a lot of impatience. Nightwing hates it. He's like, I won't play with you because you scream at me. I'm like, I'm so like such a failure. I'm so sorry. I do love you. I swear. Yeah.
Adventurous.
I think she's more patient than she thinks. Ooh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Adventurous.
Yeah.
Individually, 5. Like serious 5. I'm like, even now I'm just like, what's next? You know what I mean? Like my bucket list, I'm like, the bucket list just keeps growing. The more I accomplish it, the more it grows personally. But as a mother, I can't be this event. I'm the wild one of this family. I'm more wild than all of my kids. Like I'm the wild child here. So it took 4 of them to calm me down. And they know that. So they're like, Mom, like, okay, Mom, like settle down kind of thing. And that's, I can be risky. I can be risky and they're more level-headed, I think. So, but I'm the adventurer of the family. So I'm like, let's get up and move, guys. I'm like, let's just move anywhere. They're like, why? Why would we? And I'm like, because we need to move. We need to get out of here. This is terrible. Like Albuquerque is like the worst place we've ever lived. We're moving. Like pick a place on the map anywhere. And they're like, well, I don't know. What about the schools? And I'm not even thinking about like what schools, like, I'm like, let's just go. It'll be fun. Let's just throw a dart at the map and we'll just move there. That's me. But my kids are like, Mom, we need to think about what places have good schooling and what places are like affordable. And I'm like, right. That came next. I'm like, well, first let's throw a couple throw a couple darts and then we'll look into those places and like pick the best out of the 3 or whatever. Yeah. Like that's me. I'm like, let's just go. We'll make it work. It'll be fine. It'll be fun. So I'm very adventurous, but I've learned to not be. Because it's my children are at risk. You know what I'm saying? I can't be adventurous because if something happens to me, who are they going to have?
Mm-hmm.
But once they're with their own families, better watch out. Here I come, world. I'm going to be hella adventurous. It's all going to be back.
What? So is that how you ended up in San Antonio?
Mm-hmm. Just picked a place. We had passed through here one time, and we saw the Riverwalk, and I'm like, guys.
Yes.
I'm like,
gorgeous.
let's go to San Antonio. There's the Riverwalk, and it's music. It's like a music base.
Mm-hmm.
It's like musically inclined, and it's further south where it's warm. And I'm like, do you remember the Riverwalk? And they were little, and they're like, well, we kind of. And I'm like, yeah, let's go there. And Corpus Christi's only 2 hours away. Remember we went to Corpus Christi? I'm like, the ocean's 2 hours away, and like the mountains are on the other side, a couple of hours away. It's perfect. And Mixer's there. Like Mixer has PAX. PAX is there. I'm like, so I can meet Mixer people maybe if we move there. And so we were trying to decide between this place and Austin. And we just were like, San Antonio sounds fun. Riverwalk, let's go.
Yeah. You haven't checked out Austin yet?
Never been there.
That's an adventure waiting to happen right there.
I know. We asked a lot of people, and people are like, well, Austin's great. There's a lot to do for like when you're older, but for families, San Antonio is more community based. And I'm like, they're young enough to where San Antonio will work. And then once they get a little bit older, maybe we'll. I don't know. Who knows? There's some other flight.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Confidence.
8 out of 10 only benefit me and or not. Oh my God. I mean, you're ridiculous. Confidence. Oh, confidence. Out of 5, I would say 3, 2.5, 3. I'm confident in the fact that I'm going to blow it. Does that count? Just kidding. Like, I'm going to not do it perfectly, and I'll never meet my own standards. I'll never do things up to my own standards. My standards are extremely high for myself.
Is that what interferes with your confidence? Because you have high standards?
No. I just know my failure. I know my weaknesses, and I know my failures. Okay. And I know how I'm prone to fail. And I know that I'll never be perfect. And because of that, I lack confidence in myself, but I have more confidence in God.
Faith.
It shifted. Yeah, it shifted from me to him. So am I confident? No. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not confident in me because I literally blow it. I can be such a disaster. I can be such a mess. And even when I try really hard, I still blow it. You know what I mean? And sometimes I don't understand how to do it, or there's always something that gets in the way of it being perfect. I'm a perfectionist. I'm like, I'm never going to be perfect. But my confidence, it creates a lot of humility, which is really just having confidence in God and in God to carry you in anyways and help make it work anyways, you know? That's my confidence level.
Doesn't strike me as that. Feels like you're at a solid 5.
I seem like a level 5 confidence?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let's just say it this way then. I am 100% confident, like 100%, 5, all the way to the tippy top. Confident in what I'm saying because I won't say it unless I am. Okay?
Okay.
I'm 100% confident in what I believe, or else I wouldn't believe it because I don't believe in doing half anything. But in my ability to be, okay, let's just talk about like normal confidence, what other people consider confident. Am I confident? Do I think highly of myself? No, I'm not confident of my looks because I see my flaws. I'm not confident of my personality because it's not for everybody. And sometimes I just piss people off, and I'm like one of my greatest fears is being a B word. And I am all the time. Like there are times where I'm like such, I'd like to say about a brat. Okay. We'll just say that. I come across as such a brat. I'm a little aggressive. Okay. A little passionate, a little intense. And it comes across as like, I can be really bossy and I don't like that about me. Like, I don't like coming across that way, and I'm working on it. So I lack confidence because of that. But I'm cool with that. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm cool with not having confidence in myself. But what I think you guys see, what people see when they think oh, you look confident, is because when I speak, I'm confident. I know what I'm talking about, or I wouldn't say it. Like, I don't bull anybody. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to deceive anybody. I'm very confident in my motives. I'm very confident in my heart and what I'm saying. I could be wrong, but I'm open to learning. I'm like, correct me. I'll learn. I love learning. I love being corrected. But I know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know. And so that comes across confidently. So I think that's why. She's a denial, whatever.
Do you don't know what you don't know?
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know.
Okay.
And I'm okay with that. Like, I'll admit, I'm like, people could ask me questions. I'm not going to just, excuse my French, bullshit them and like tell them something that I think it is or come up with it on the spot. I probably could, and it probably sound really intelligent, but I won't do that because it's wrong. So I'll just tell them, like, I don't know. Like, my kids come and they're like, Mom, what should I do with this? And I'm like, I've never been there and I don't really know, but we could try some things. Let's try let's try this. Like, I don't know. But when I do know it, I'm like, listen here, I know what I'm talking about. You need to listen to me, children. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, no, I know this. I know this like the back of my hand. I can still learn, but this for sure I know. This is like fact. This is facts. So that's where most of my confidence comes from, is knowledge.
Self-knowledge, where you discovered yourself.
Oh, no, because you're always discovering yourself and you're always changing.
Yeah.
Knowledge that's concrete, unchanging knowledge, immutable knowledge, like gravity. It doesn't change. What goes up must come down. Like, not like there's that kind of knowledge. So things that are factual, absolutely factual, or things that I believe are truth, but I will say them that way as well. According to what I believe, this is the truth. I know it to be the truth. You will never change my mind, ever. I'm hoping to change your mind, and I'll be honest about that. I mean, I'm like, God is real. Change my mind. You can't. It won't ever happen because I met him. Like, I know him. I talk to him like all the time. So I know he's real. I would like you to acknowledge that, like, just to consider that he might be real. Like, do you know what I'm saying? If I'm talking to someone who doesn't believe. And that comes across as I'm confident in my knowledge, and I am confident in my knowledge, but that's not the kind of knowledge that really makes me confident in talking to people. It's the stuff that they can look up themselves and see as proof.
Yeah, right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Stubbornness.
Yes, my ethnicity is European mix, all over the place, a little bit of Native.
Stubbornness.
Stubbornness? I would say, God, that is the hardest one yet. That's honestly the most difficult one.
Why is it so hard?
Because I'm a fighter, but I'm also a big lover, and I can compromise.
You're stubborn to fight, but also stubborn to love.
Yeah, I'm pretty stubborn. I'm only stubborn with certain areas of my life, and then other areas I'm like a big pushover. Like, I'm not as stubborn. Okay. When I'm around my alphas, I'll give. I'm not stubborn. I have a lot of give. I'll change. I'll adapt. You know what I mean? It's like I'm out to please. But when I'm the alpha, I'm stubborn. So I don't know, 3, 2.5, 2.5. We just have all of these be 2.5. I'm like, what side are you talking to? I'm like, multiple personalities. I'm like, oh, wait, which one are you asking?
No, not all of them 2.5. All right, next one.
This one's like 2.5. Yes. Oh my God. I like how Nightwing's like, I know her better than she knows herself. What would you say it is, Nightwing? You think I'm 5 stubborn?
She's not.
I'm not stubborn with you though. I'm stubborn with almost everybody in my stream, but not with him.
She's stubbornly debating her stubborn score. Oh, see how you flip that?
There we go. See, because this is the side of me that's stubborn, right here. But
About yourself.
Nightwing, I submit to you for the most part.
That makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, so we'll agree on a 3.
There we go.
3. Okay.
I'm like, what's funny is the one that's saying this is the one that I actually submit to the most, probably in my stream. You're right. You're right. I'm a 5. I'll reconsider the number, Nightwing.
Okay.
Privately. I'll think about it.
All right, next one, Blasty. Self-awareness.
5.
Explain that.
I think I'm overly aware of myself, to be honest. I don't think it's healthy to be a 5 on self-awareness.
You don't think it's healthy? What do you mean?
Mm-mm. I don't think you should be so aware of yourself.
Why?
Because you become too conscientious about your own little world, your own little bubble. You stop seeing other people as much. I think that's just through my experience. When I'm overly aware of myself and everything I'm doing, self-awareness, we're talking about like, so first of all, I'm very introspective. I'm constantly breaking myself down and building myself back up just to check everything. It's like being a cyborg and like taking pieces off and checking to make sure everything works. Like constantly, like in this conversation, I've done it probably 3 times. I know, and it works really fast. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like evaluating, self-evaluation, constant self-evaluation, so that I'm very aware of what I'm offering, what I'm giving, how I'm interacting with people, what is their reaction to how I'm interacting with them, how does my response to how they react, you know. I'm so aware of that sometimes I get caught in my own thoughts about me and I become the focus for me. And really, I just want to erase me and just see them. And that gets in the way. I get in the way of, you know what I mean? Like I block my own. If Blasty becomes the lens that I'm looking through at people, I'm going to see me and them. I'm not going to see them. So I don't want to be too self-aware. I need to like remove the lens and forget about me for a minute, because who I really am is going to come out more than anyway. So I don't need to be aware of it. So I'm going to be me no matter what. But now I can just focus on them, you know?
You feel like you've improved of that over time?
Slowly. I'm not where I want to be with that. That's what I'll say. But I know I want to be. And I recognized that when I was young. So since I was young to now, there's been progress, but it's not been as quickly as I'd like. And it's not as much as I would like. I wish I could completely remove me from the equation altogether, to be honest. Not be so self-aware, not even be aware. Just be so comfortable in my own skin that I don't need to acknowledge it. And just be like God-centered and just see God in people and just love. I don't know. That's one of my goals. It's one of my dreams. Like, that's my dream, is just to disappear. Like, not be so, where I'm not an issue. I'm not something that needs to be handled. I'm not something that needs to be thought about, because I'm fine. I'm already taken care of. I don't need to take care of me. I shouldn't be so selfish. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be selfish or self-centered.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a very interesting thought concept.
Selfishness is bad. Yeah, selfishness is bad, man. I don't like it.
Yeah, it makes sense. All right, last one. Actually, no. Another one. Forgiveness.
5.
Why?
Because I'm forgiven. That's the only reason why. Because I know how bad, I know how much I've for, and I have no excuse. None. That's the incentive for me to forgive. And it's actually, I want to forgive. I like forgiving. It feels good. It feels better. It feels good to let people off the hook. Now, it doesn't mean lose wisdom. Forgiveness and trust are 2 completely different things. A lot of people take forgiveness as though you should, because I've done that too, to where I forgave somebody and attached my trust right to that forgiveness. and trusted people that should not have been trusted. And I was with abusive men for too long. But the forgiveness wasn't bad, just the trust. So I've learned since then to forgive and remove the trust. Love them from a distance. Forgive them, truly forgive them. Let it go. You know? Isaac! I'm in the middle of an interview. Please keep it down. I know you guys are having discussions. Or raging. I don't know what they're doing.
Or raging.
It was pretty loud.
Either way.
Like,
Yeah,
either way,
it
it
was
sounded
loud.
angry.
Yeah.
I think they're playing Fallout and something's happened. But go ahead. Better at it now? She forgives way too much. She's better at it now. It's because people like you have taught me, Nightwing. He's very wise.
Nightwing. Have you met Nightwing?
No. We've just texted, and he's just through text messaging, he's taught me a lot. Because he's very good judge of character, and he's very to the point. So he speaks to me in a way that I need, which is like, just
A little smack around, yeah.
little smack around, like lies, he'll just, like, why do you do this? He's like, why do you do this, friend? But he's always loving with it. I always feel loved. But he's just straight to the point. He holds me very accountable to the things I believe in, where he knows where I want to be. I think he just innately knows, like he just kind of knows that, he understands it. So he confronts it pretty quickly. And one of the things is, why would you do that? That's so stupid. That's so illogical. And I'm like,
Your mom.
yeah, you're right. I need to work on this. Like, I can't argue with him. That's why I submit to him. He's my alpha. I don't argue. He's not the person that I will argue with. I'll argue just to be funny and troll him. But really, on a personal level, I trust him. And I trust what he has to say. And I trust that he's looking out for my best interest at all times. Truly. So I'll listen to him.
All right, last one. Luck.
I don't believe in luck. But what other people would consider luck, I would say a 5.
Let's talk about you, though. Why don't you believe in it?
Because God is in control of all. God ordains everything. Everything happens for a reason. No luck. Everything has purpose. Everything. Okay, let me put it this way. This is how much I believe in this. Let's say I stub my toe. It's bleeding, like it hurts, like something, like it hurts, and I had the skiing trip planned, and I don't ski, but I had a skiing trip planned, and I stubbed my toe, and it really hurts, and it's swollen, and I'm like cursing God, and why has this happened to me? My life is so hard, okay? But in reality, what happened was I stubbed my toe because I sneezed and I wasn't watching where I was going. But I sneezed because a particle of the air, of the dust, came and landed like in my nose and made me sneeze. Okay? But if I had not stubbed my toe, if that particle of dust had not fallen into my nose, made me sneeze at that moment, and stubbed my toe, I wouldn't have taken 10 minutes to wrap up my foot before getting to work. And if I hadn't done all that, I would have gotten in a car wreck and my children would have been killed. And now I'm living a life without my children. So I look at everything that way, that I'm like, who's in charge of the dust, of, like that particle floating through the air into your nose? It has to, in order for you to sneeze at the right time, in order for you to stub your toe at the right time, in order for you to take the 10 minutes to keep you from the wreck down the street, because your children are supposed to live another day. So everything I see is connected that way. Everything happens for a reason. So how do you equate luck with that? They don't fit on the same, they can't fit on the same page. They're contrary. They contradict each other.
Reminds me of may I share a story with you from ancient Chinese Zen story?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this farmer and he has horses. One day a storm came through and scared the horse so bad to where he ran away into the woods. The other villagers asked him,
I know this story.
You know what it is?
Yes, but keep going. I love it. I want everybody else to hear it.
Yeah. So they asked the farmer, is he okay? Are you worried? Are you worried about anything that's going on? And he says, maybe. Next day, the horse comes back with 3 more horses. And they said, wow, aren't you so excited about this? And the farmer said, maybe. The next day, the farmer's son tried to tame one of the wild horses. The son ended up falling off and broke his foot. They asked the farmer again, aren't you worried for your son? He said, maybe. The next day, the Chinese army comes into their village to recruit all young men. But they say they can't recruit his son because he has a broken leg, rendered him useless. And they asked them again, aren't you happy that they didn't recruit your son? And he said, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, how things just happen.
Exactly.
It's so great.
It's all okay. It's all. See, that's where I think people lose their purpose, is because they measure, when he said success, I'm like, the way people measure success has a lot to do with their level of gratitude and what's happening, or how they even respond to what's happening in their lives. You know what I mean? So it's like, what is successful? Was it successful for his, was it successful for the 3 horses to come back? It's like, really, that's what you're weighing is this good or bad?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is yes. Yes.
It's both.
And that's ultimately where it comes down to faith. And I think that's where people really get stuck, is they're like, well, who's in charge of all this? You know what I mean? Like, why is it this way? Why is life this way?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what got me on my search. And I wanted to ask all the questions because I'm so curious. I'm like, I need to go find the source, and even loss, even pain. There's questions I still ask God that I'm like, why would you create loss? Why would you make us hurt this bad? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, couldn't you have helped us to understand it in a better way? And the answer is obvious. No, not if he's perfect. If he's perfect, this is the best way. Even if I don't understand it, even if I don't like it. But trust. And that's what I find successful, is trusting. That's where my greatest success is going to be. And that's going to be what I always strive to, is to trust God more and trust myself less, and my own intelligence, because I don't know anything really. I'm going to look back on this all at the end of it and be like, whoa, that was completely different than what I thought it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to be thankful for things I was never thankful for. And the things I was really thankful for, I'm going to be like, wow, that's actually hurtful. That actually hurt us for our good. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to, I think. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What I mean.
Without loss, there could be no gain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yes, that Chinese story, that's beautiful. I freaking love that.
Mm-hmm. There's also I was going to tell you another one on forgiveness. Have you heard the one on forgiveness?
No, which one?
So, so there's a master and a student. The student asks the master is that he's went through hard times. How can he forgive those that they're the reason why he was unfortunate to have these hard times? So the master responds. He says, if you blame them, you never reach your journey to forgive them. If you blame yourself, you're halfway there. But if you blame nobody, you have forgiven them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that really helped me out a lot too. I was like, oh.
I want to repeat that one. I actually want to keep that one. That's something I'm going to be sharing again.
I'll tell you after the show. We'll write it down somewhere or something.
Yeah, please do, because I've actually been, I just recently, I actually just confronted that very thing. As I'm like, you want to find somebody to blame, but you keep flipping back and forth between it's them or it's me, or it's them or it's me. And neither of those are going to get you where you need to go. But that's a perfect way of putting that. I'm like, oh my God, right. When you have nobody to blame is when you know that you've forgiven. Like, that's gorgeous. It's so simple. I wish I could say things as simply as that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, long story short, it definitely helped out cope with my father's choices of being an alcoholic. So,
yeah, I can imagine.
We'll talk more after it, but that's definitely what helped out with, of course.
Yes.
LilBlastyBlast. We talked about your character creation. We sat your attributes. Now you're off to your main quest.
Okay.
What is your main quest?
My main quest, my goal.
I guess like a pretty solid, because after this is going to be side quests, so it's like short-term goals. So basically, look at it as a main quest as like pretty adventurous, long-term.
The long term. Okay.
A long-term goal.
Being more like God. That's it. And everything that I do. Stream wise, since this is also considered a long-term goal. So there's like the earthly one and then the heavenly one. Okay. So the heavenly one, I want to be more like God. I want to see less of me and more of him in my life. That's the major one, the major heart one. The practical one, I would really like to take this stream to traveling around the world, meeting different cultures and streaming it live. Eating their food, learning what they believe about life, how they view life. I would just really like to travel like to different countries and different people groups and really just get a feel of, I'm getting deep with them. And even live with them and try to live the kind of lifestyle and just document it, like just having you guys watch it with me and interact with me and come up with, should I do this or this? You know what I mean? And everybody helping me. That's my long-term goal for the stream.
That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, I wrote a note down and that's a good idea. Good little golden nugget you shared. That's awesome. All right, so that's the main quest. What are some of your side quests?
Getting all my children out of school, like where they call it, okay? Have them all driving safely. Getting them, that's basically everything right now is, once you become a parent, your life stops and theirs begins. So even my stream is right now for them. Like I'm here to be here. I'm streaming to be here for them while they need me and to be here to guide them and to make sure everything runs, while also building something, hopefully, Lord willing, for myself for when they're out of the house that I can have for myself. That's familiar and that's something for me. But almost everything that is a short-term goal, the minute it's about me, I usually take that off and put it back on them because I'm like, there's too many of them. They have too many needs and I don't have time for me yet. That day will come. That day will come. And when it does, all I'm going to be doing is missing them. Really. So I'm like, just enjoy them. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I see it happening. So all of my short-term goals are, how can I get them where they need to be? How can I help them grow into themselves, accomplish, get where they want to be in school? Because like my oldest dropped out of school because he's like, I don't believe in school. Okay. Your life is going to be harder as long as you're willing to accept that. And he's like, I am. I'm like, all right, I'll be right here loving you through the whole thing. I would rather you go to school because I think I know better. And I think it will help you. And I think you'll regret it. But ultimately, this is your decision. And he made the decision to rise against it because he doesn't believe in the system. He's like, I shouldn't have to have a piece of paper to prove myself to men. And I'm like, agreed. That's idealistic. May not practically help you, but by God, I believe in the ideal. Do you know what I mean? So I'll stand by you until you figure out what you're wanting to do. And there are times where he's regretted. He's like, maybe I should have. I'm like, well, you still can. Like you can always fix it. You can always do your best to fix it. But yeah, just helping them to achieve their goals and coming into who they want to be. And that's plenty. I don't have room for anything else other than just pay my bills. Those are my short-term goals.
So you completed your main quests and you completed those side quests. And now you reach your final boss. What is the final boss you wish to conquer?
Me.
Explain that.
I'm the only one getting in my way. As with, I believe, everyone. Like we're our greatest enemies. And it's always like, that's always like the twist, right? So you're trying to succeed and you are the only one stopping you from succeeding, depending on what you believe is success. I mean, I would like to either be who I want to be or fully accept who I am, even if it's not what I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not there. That's the boss. That's going to be the boss. That's going to be a life. I feel like that's going to be a lifelong. I don't know if I'll ever reach that, actually. I don't know if I'll ever be. But it'll be fun trying. It's fun every time I try.
Yeah, it's a good answer. Oh, your kids are a little loud, by the way.
I'm so sorry. They are, guys, you're really loud.
Just tell them 15 more minutes.
I turned my gain down. It's weird that you could. Oh, it's because I put my mic on this side.
Oh, okay.
So you're picking up that. Okay.
Yeah. It's all right. It's okay. Well, say you do conquer your final boss and it hits game over. What is the legacy or impact you wish to leave when somebody opens your save file?
Honestly, I would like them to see a giant arrow pointing up. That's it.
What do you
I
mean
want
by
to
that?
be an example. I just want them to know that they're. So if there was anything that I could really share, or that I really want to share with everybody, is they're not alone. There are two things. Not a single person on this planet is going to understand you. But there is one person who will. It's not on this planet. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's one person. And I believe that will change everything for the good. And every single person is that one relationship, that one encounter. So if there's anything in my save file that I want people to see as an example of that, of what God can take, like this mess that God can take and turn it into something still messy, but really purposeful, useful, like with a reason to live, with love for life. You know, I just think if I can serve it as an example, I mean, really, I want some people to look at me and be like, man, if God can do something like that and make it successful, there's going to be no problem. I want people to look at that and see that. I think that's why God let me be like the misfit of the family. Is because I don't mind him using me as an example. So I'm like, I'll just throw it all out there. Like, yo, if you only knew how much I blew it, and look where I am. Like, that's all God. Like, he's just he's that loving. You can actually count on him. Like, that's what I want people to see. And the safe. I want people to see that all this, or all the knowledge I have, everything I'm sharing that hits the soul, that all came from him. Like, it's all him. Like, he really is amazing. And that's really all I'd want. That's all I want to be seen. Just like an arrow pointing up to where they bypass me and just go straight to like the source and go, ooh, like curiosity, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I'd like.
It's a great save file, Blasty.
Thanks. Thank you for doing this. I feel so honored.
Of course. What you mean? I'm honored for you to be on the show. What you talking about?
That's kind. It's kind.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. All right. So for the people that are listening, if they don't know who you are, where can they find you?
Mixer.com/LilBlastyBlast. You can also find me, YouTube. I'm hoping to start updating again. That's also LilBlastyBlast. Instagram, LilBlastyBlast. Twitter, LilBlastyBlast _ Not just LilBlast. Okay, that's the one that's different. That's where you can find me. But I'm mainly on Twitter, and then of course my Discord. But yeah, I mainly stream here, and then Twitter and Instagram are like the three that are my main.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Again, LilBlastyBlast, thank you so much.
Yes.
For coming on the show and sharing your save file. I'm truly honored and blessed for you to be here. It's awesome. All right, for the people that don't know though, what's your name and whose save file is this?
I'm LilBlastyBlast, and this is my.
Awesome. Alrighty, y'all. For everybody that's showing all the love and support in the chat, thank you so much. I seen the embers. Thank you again for all the donations. You guys really was that little icing on the cake to this show. You guys make it more live and more interactive, and I'm truly honored that y'all giving me your hardcore currency, which is time. And I feel like the only currency as humans we have is time. And thank you so much for everything. Bushman Gaming, what's up, man? He's actually, what's up, Bushman? Dang. But anyway, and there he goes with the Ember Train.
Hey.
Oh man, this is awesome.
Ember, hi.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bushman. You're amazing, man. He's actually, that's, dang, bro. Okay, this ain't about me right now, all right? Thank you so much.
He's like,
Jeez.
dang.
Yeah, thank you so much, dude. But yeah, Hybrid did mention that the audio did go out when you said your ending motto. So if you can, if you want to do that again for us, please.
The who I am, and but yeah. So I am LilBlastyBlast.
It did it again. It did it again. It's so weird. Is this God? Is this God doing this? What's going on? It's so weird. Yeah, it did it again.
Scream it from the rooftops.
Yeah. We gotta get it though. We gotta get it. We can't give up. Let's get it.
Okay. Are you wanting me to like get it from the chest?
Yeah, listen. Do you. Do the best you.
Okay. My name is LilBlastyBlast. I can't do it. I had like way too many images of what I wanted to do right then. Failed. Just crashed.
Try again. Go. Let's go. Just try it.
No, you've officially hit my bashful side. Start turning. I was gonna be like flexing and everything. I'm not doing it.
Just say the last part. Go. Boom. I mean, you did the first part.
Okay. My name is LilBlastyBlast, and you all need to go follow Gold. Everybody, just drop that follow. He's absolutely freaking amazing. He does amazing save files. That's actually what needed to be said right there. Everybody. It happened again.
Alrighty then. Thank you so much.
Not gonna happen.
Thank you so much. I'm glad I got the bashful side though. That's dope.
Oh my gosh. But that's true. You guys actually, I love some of his other, like his other VODs. I guess they'd be VODs, save files. Are they on YouTube? They're on YouTube, right?
Yeah, they're the
If you
videos.
guys-
The videos are on YouTube, and then the audio versions are on podcast platforms such as Apple, Google, and Spotify.
Oh, I didn't know you did podcasts also. You guys, please shout out for anybody who's in here. Can you shout it out, like your YouTube?
Yeah,
somebody go
it's so
Find it, you
exclamation
have it, like on yours.
exclamation point socials. I don't remember if it's with the S or without a S. Bushman Gaming again with the embers, man. Thank you so much, bro. Much love.
You guys should go definitely check up on some of them. I'm actually going to be going in other ones, and I'm actually considering doing that on my stream because
Yeah,
I want to learn about some of these other streamers. And I think it'd be really interesting for you guys to watch it with me and just kind of like have some discussion about some of the things because it's just more perspectives. Gold Lion, you were freaking amazing. I absolutely love this idea. I love that you, like I said, the fact that you're taking time to really ask the deep questions and you do it so comfortably. Like you make everybody, I can tell you make people feel just really comfortable and willing to open up. And the way you ask things, I'm like, yes, you're definitely gifted in this area. Like this is important. I think people really like to be seen and you pick up on all the things that I think are most important. So thank you. Thank you so much for letting me experience this with you. And
awesome. And I also, yeah, thank you for the words. Holy crap, makes me feel special.
You are.
Thank you. I usually ask streamers as well if they're down for a 1 year, like I guess you could say like how everything's going a year from now. So are you down for part 2?
Yes.
Save file part 2?
Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome.
For sure. Let's hope I'm here. Lord willing.
You will
I'll be here.
No, you're gonna be here.
A year from now.
No,
Maybe
you'll
I'll
be here.
happy. Who knows?
No, I know you're gonna be here.
I'm hoping. I am definitely hoping so. I would love to be able to compare the two also, just how much has changed in that time.
Then Bushman out here and Juiceman, thank you so much for the embers. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Okay.
Chat, you're amazing. I love you. Thank you for all the love and support. LilBlastyBlast, you're beautiful, amazing human being.
Thank you.
You're just awesome. I love it. It's so dope. All right, y'all. Stay happy. Stay healthy. Premiere, you play games? Hell yeah, I play games. I'm a nerd, bro. Come on, look at my VODs. You can go ahead and look at my VODs. I'm actually working on Final Fantasy 7 and I'm playing Last Oasis with my boys. So yeah, I'm a nerd. It's all good. All right, y'all. Stay happy, stay healthy, and most of all, gamers, stay golden. Until next time, everybody. Love y'all. See ya.
Bye.
Yay.